Chapter 33:10. The essence, blood, and primordial spirits of the 10 chaos divine beasts all poured into the vortex. Balance must be maintained. If there was even the slightest mistake, not only would they not be able to open the chaos divine beast diagram, but the gains would not make up for the losses, causing them to fall into eternal damnation. They did not dare to be careless. Step by step, looking at the vortex in front of him, Longao was very nervous. He clenched his fists tightly. He must succeed. He must not fail. Time passed minute by minute. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. At this moment, a strange power suddenly emerged from the vortex. There were a total of 10 different kinds of power, which came from the 10 chaos divine beasts. The essence, blood, and primordial spirits fused directly with the vortex. The 10 powers in the vortex rushed into the 10 chaos divine beasts at the fastest speed. Seeing this, Longao's face was filled with surprise. Looks like my guess was right. The 10 chaos divine beasts opened the chaos divine beast diagram. Under the balance of power, except for Judas, the other 9 chaos divine beasts all broke through the chaos life and death realm and reached the chaos reincarnation realm. Not only Longao, but even Blackie and the other 9 chaos divine beasts were pleasantly surprised. They never thought that their cultivation would have been restored before they had truly opened the chaos divine beast diagram. At this moment, the 10 chaos divine beasts had recovered their peak strength. If they fought alone, Mo Wutian and the others were no match for the 10 chaos divine beasts. Unless it was Evil Moon and Gu Hao. But looking at the chaos realm, how many people could reach half-step Dao validation or infinitely close to it? At this moment, even if Longao's cultivation had not broken through the chaos reincarnation realm, he had Qin Shuang and the 10 chaos divine beasts by his side. Not to mention ordinary chaos reincarnation warriors, even facing Evil Moon, he would not have any fear. But one had to know. The evil ancestor beside Longao was not inferior to Evil Moon in strength. As for whether he could fight against Gu Hao, it was still unknown. Wait. He stared at the vortex in front of him. Longao knew very well that as long as the 10 chaos divine beasts successfully opened the chaos divine beast diagram, it was very likely that they would succeed in their Dao validation and become Dao validation divine beasts. What kind of concept was that? The 10 great Dao confirming divine beasts, even if they encountered a Dao confirming martial artist of the same level, they could still kill them in an instant. The more he thought about it, the more he looked forward to it. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. The problem now was that no one knew how long it would take for the 10 divine beasts of chaos to successfully attain the Dao. The only thing he could do was wait. He could only wait. The vortex disappeared. Boss, we have successfully activated the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, but you can't use it for the time being. We have to integrate it as soon as possible. Longao nodded. How could he not know what Xiao He meant? What you need to do now is to fuse as quickly as possible. After that, you need to use the diagram of the Chaos Divine Beasts to prove your Dao. As for dealing with Mo Wutian and the others, leave it to me. Thank you, boss. Of course, the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts were very clear that they might be able to help their boss deal with Mo Wutian and the others, and even Evil Moon. However, it was a little unrealistic to want to deal with Gu Hao. If he wanted to truly help his boss, then he had to quickly fuse with the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. As long as he could successfully prove his Dao, then Gu Hao would no longer be a threat. Time, to the 10 of them, was everything. After entering the diagram of the Chaos Divine Beasts, the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts never came out again. They devoted themselves to fusing with the diagram. Brother Long, it's done? Longao didn't hide anything from Qin Shuang. Aside from Judas, who is a Chaos Divine Beast, after this opening, Xiao He and the others have all returned to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm. Qin Shuang was overjoyed to hear this. Of course she knew what it meant for the 10 great chaos divine beasts to return to their peak. Brother Long, with Xiao He and the others' help, it shouldn't be difficult for us to kill Mo Wutian and the others. Longao knew what Shuang meant. He thought for a moment, then said, they've successfully activated the diagram of the chaos divine beasts, but proving their Tao won't be easy. So I plan to let them do their best to prove their Tao. As for Mo Wutian, I'll deal with him myself. Brother Long, with a wave of his hand, Longao smiled. Shuang, I know what you mean. But for the sake of the long term, let's do as I say. Once Xiao He and the others succeed in proving their Tao, then even if a Tao affirmation expert comes, we'll be able to hold them off. Longao wasn't too worried about Mo Wutian and the others. After all, he was strong enough to contend with Mo Wutian and the others. With the evil progenitor's help, even Evil Moon wouldn't be a problem. Only a half-step Tao affirmation expert or a true Tao affirmation expert would pose a threat. So in order to deal with the unknown, he needed Xiao He and the others to prove their Tao as quickly as possible. Qin Shuang knew Longao's personality well, so she didn't say much. But no matter what happened, she would stand by his side without hesitation, until death do us part. Aside from having Xiao He and the others use the diagram of the chaos divine beasts to prove their Tao as quickly as possible, he also needed to prove his Tao. Otherwise, when the chaos returned 5,000 years later, it would be difficult to deal with it. It was the same old saying. If he was alone, he wouldn't care about any danger. But he still had his family behind him. No matter what happened, no matter when, he couldn't let his family be in any danger. It would be very difficult to prove one's Tao in 5,000 years. However, according to his master, he could use the 6 treasures to change the chaotic sacred body. Not only could he break through the chaotic reincarnation realm, but it would also be very helpful to prove his Tao in the future. One had to know that among the 6 treasures, there was the Chaos Tree and the Chaos Seed. Just these 2 items alone could greatly increase his chances of achieving Tao. It could even be said to be 100%. The problem now was only a matter of time. Others could wait, but he couldn't. The most important thing now was to think of a way to smoothly break through the chaotic reincarnation realm in the shortest time possible before proving his Tao. If he couldn't even break through the chaotic reincarnation realm, then there was no need to mention the so-called Tao affirmation. It would be complete nonsense. Out of the 6 treasures, only the reincarnation fruit and the netherworld water had yet to be found. In the chaotic realm, the most likely place to have the reincarnation fruit was definitely the reincarnation valley. Other than that, he really didn't know where else in the chaotic realm could have the reincarnation fruit. However, when he entered the reincarnation valley, he didn't see any reincarnation fruit. Even he didn't believe that there was one. Chapter 33:11. If you want to know if there are any reincarnation fruits in the reincarnation valley, I have a way. What way? If there really was a way to know if there were any reincarnation fruits in the reincarnation valley, it would be a pleasant surprise. The problem now was, he didn't know if there were any reincarnation fruits in the reincarnation valley. This was the most troublesome part. If he searched for a few years, he would find nothing. At that time, it would all be for nothing. This was what Longao didn't want to see the most. If he knew first, then he could deal with it. If there were no reincarnation fruits in the reincarnation valley, then why should he stay here? It was better to leave as soon as possible and see if there were any reincarnation fruits in other parts of the chaos realm. The reincarnation fruits were too important to him. Xianyuan Bubi smiled and said, I can't do it, but the evil ancestor's primordial spirit can cover the entire reincarnation valley. It was just an instant. Longao already understood what his master meant. He didn't think of it before. It was just as his master had said. The evil ancestor's primordial spirit was able to contend against Evil Moon. One could imagine how powerful the evil ancestor's primordial spirit was. It wouldn't be difficult for it to cover the reincarnation valley. Evil ancestor, are you confident? The evil ancestor nodded and said with a smile, "Don't worry, as long as it covers the reincarnation valley, as long as there are reincarnation fruits in the reincarnation valley, I will definitely be able to help you lock onto them. Then let's begin immediately." Longao knew very well that the fact that he had two primordial spirits in his body would probably spread throughout the entire chaos realm. Since that was the case, then why should he continue to hide it? Gu Hao and the others still did not choose to leave. Especially when Longao took away the candle shadow beast, Gu Hao and the others became even more fearful. This was because no one knew what kind of power Longao would have once he opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. It was better to be safe than sorry. If the Chaos Divine Beast diagram could threaten a half-step Dao validation martial artist, then there would be no chance for regret. The only way, that was to eliminate the roots and eliminate all future troubles. However, if he wanted to kill Longao, he had to lock onto the Primal Chaos Palace. If he couldn't deal with the Primal Chaos Palace, then there was no need to talk about dealing with Longao. "Brother Gu, we can't go on like this. We have to think of something." He nodded. How could Gu Hao not know what evil moon meant? Gu Hao's expression was extremely sinister, as ugly as it could be. Of course, he knew that the longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. However, given the current situation, it was difficult for him to find a good way to deal with Longao. The Primal Chaos Hall was too heaven-defying. Even he could not lock onto it. What kind of concept was that? In fact, Gu Hao and the others did not know that if it was just the Primal Chaos Palace alone, how could it be so heaven-defying? Even if it could ignore the locking of Mo Wu Tian and the others, it might not be able to block the locking of a martial artist half a step into the Dao validation. The biggest reason the Primal Chaos Palace was so heaven-defying was because Longao's Dantian had fused with the Primal Chaos Palace and formed a chaotic Dantian. Even a half-step Dao validation martialist would find it difficult to lock onto it. It won't be easy to deal with Primal Chaos Palace. At this moment, Gu Hao and Evil Moon's expressions suddenly changed, and the two of them said at the same time, "Dao confirming primordial spirit?" The primordial spirit was incomparably powerful. In just a few seconds, it had already spread out in all directions, covering every corner of the Reincarnation Valley. What exactly is Longao doing in the Reincarnation Valley this time? Until now, Gu Hao and the others still did not know why Longao had come this time, and why he wanted to enter the Reincarnation Valley for no reason. Just as the evil ancestor released his primordial spirit, Longao's expression also changed. "Evil ancestor, you." Xianyuan Bubi waved his hand, as if he knew what Longao was thinking, and said with a smile, Even if the evil ancestor suffers some losses, it will be worth it to him. As long as you wait for the future to prove your Dao, it will be enough to help him prove his Dao." Longao did not say anything. He was very grateful to the evil ancestor in his heart. He originally thought that releasing his primordial spirit to cover the Reincarnation Valley would be a simple matter for the evil ancestor, and there would not be any losses. In the end, the evil ancestor released his primordial spirit to cover the Reincarnation Valley. For the evil ancestor, the loss of his primordial spirit was too great. No wonder in the beginning, neither the evil ancestor nor his master mentioned this matter. It seemed that if he had not been cornered, the evil ancestor would not have done this. Releasing such a huge primordial spirit to lock onto the evil ancestor was too great a loss. As time passed, about 2 hours later, the evil ancestor instantly withdrew his primordial spirit. His face was very pale, and his primordial spirit was extremely weak. However, he smiled and said, "At least I didn't lose my primordial spirit for nothing. I have already locked onto the reincarnation fruit." Hearing the evil ancestor's words, Longao's face was also filled with surprise. He said gratefully, "Evil ancestor, it's all thanks to you this time. I will remember this favor." After all, the current him had already chosen to submit to Longao, and his life and death were in his hands. As long as Longao said a word, his life and death would be decided in an instant. However, since Longao had said so, the evil ancestor was very clear that Longao did not look down on him in the slightest. "Longao, although I have already locked onto the reincarnation fruit, I still want to go out and obtain it." After saying that, the evil ancestor did not continue, but the meaning behind his words was already very clear. Longao was not an idiot, so of course he could understand the meaning behind the other party's words. If not for Gu Hao and the others guarding outside, he would have been able to smoothly obtain the reincarnation fruit. However, as long as he left the primal chaos Dantian, there was no doubt that he would be intercepted by Gu Hao and the others. Just thinking about it made him know what the consequences would be. It was just that, in such a stalemate, it was almost impossible for Gu Hao and the others to leave just like that. If a few thousand years were to come, he would be the one to scam. After all, he had to succeed in proving his Tao within 5,000 years. What should I do? At this time, the evil ancestor suddenly said, "Longao, with all due respect, since the 10 great chaos divine beasts have already successfully broken through the primal chaos reincarnation realm, then if you want to prove your Tao, it will not be at this time. Why don't we first help you obtain the reincarnation fruit, and as for Gu Hao and the others, we can kill as many as we can." How could Longao not know what the evil ancestor meant? The evil ancestor is right. The most important thing right now is to think of a way to obtain the reincarnation fruit. After this matter is over, we can let Xiao He and the others enter the Chaos Divine Beast diagram and prove our Tao together. Since his master and the evil ancestor had already said so, Longao was not willing to say anything more. He turned around and entered the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Chapter 33:12. With regards to Longao's decision, Xiao He and the other 10 Chaos Divine Beasts naturally wouldn't have the slightest suggestion. Within the Reincarnation Valley, Gu Hao and the others were still guarding with all their might, hoping to break through the Primal Chaos Palace as soon as possible and kill Longao. They didn't know what Longao wanted to do in the Reincarnation Valley, but Gu Hao and the others knew that Longao definitely wouldn't step into this place for no reason. What was the reason? It seemed like Longao wanted to obtain something since his primordial spirit had covered the entire Reincarnation Valley. At this moment, Longao appeared and looked coldly at the crowd in front of him. Appear? Looking at Longao in front of them, Gu Hao and the others seemed to be very surprised, but they also had a helpless look on their faces. As long as they could not deal with the Primal Chaos Palace, killing Longao would be a pipe dream. Even the universe space was unable to lock onto the Primal Chaos Palace. Longao, you are just a coward. If you have the ability, then fight us one-on-one. How about it? He completely ignored the divine mathematician. The grudges between him, the divine mathematician, Nangong Yin Mo Wutian, and the others would be settled sooner or later. If not for Gu Hao overseeing things, even Evil Moon wouldn't be afraid. Divine mathematician, you want to fight me one-on-one? Do you dare? Contempt. Not to mention using the power of the 10 great chaos divine beasts, even if it was himself, it wouldn't be difficult to kill the divine mathematician right now. Looking at Longao, who was looking down on him, the divine mathematician seemed to want to say something, but when the words reached his mouth, he forcefully swallowed them back. If it was before, he definitely wouldn't be afraid of Longao, but now the situation was a little different. Although Longao's cultivation had yet to break through the primal chaos realm, his own strength was already equivalent to a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist. Longao, do you think you can leave the Reincarnation Valley alive? Gu Hao, do you think you're qualified? Longao was simply too lazy to speak any more nonsense. He turned around and left, his speed flying. In the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared without a trace. Gu Hao and the others were all dumbfounded. They did not know what Longao was doing. However, everyone had already guessed that Longao had entered the reincarnation valley to look for something. He definitely wouldn't give up just like that. Gu Hao and the others, one after another, quickly chased after Longao. "Boss, when are we going to attack?" Blackie and the others could not wait any longer. Their cultivation had recovered to the chaotic reincarnation realm. If the 10 chaotic divine beasts joined forces, even Evil Moon would not be their match. As for whether or not he could contend against Gu Hao, he had never truly fought before, so it was still unknown. Attack! After being oppressed for so many years, Longao also wanted to have a good time. Shoo, 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 10 figures appeared one after another. They were none other than the 10 chaotic divine beasts. They were the heaven-devouring God Beast, Jiao-ing God Beast, Zhu-yin God Beast, Pai-shou God Beast, Qianyo God Beast, Heaven-splitting God Beast, Golden Ni God Beast, 9-headed Dragon Python, and Taotai God Beast. Gu Hao and the others did not put the 10 chaotic divine beasts in their eyes at all. But in the end, when they exchanged blows just now, other than Gu Hao, the rest of their faces changed. They were extremely gloomy and as ugly as they could be. Gu Hao, Evil Moon, Mo Wutian, Nangong Yin, and the Divine Mathematician. Gu Hao defended against the attacks of the 6 chaotic divine beasts alone, while the remaining 4 chaotic divine beasts fought against the other 4. This way, Longao did not fear any advantage at all. Longao was clear that at the end of the day, he had underestimated a martial artist who was half a step into the Tao validation realm. He had thought that 3 or 4 chaotic divine beasts would be enough to defend against Gu Hao. Retreat? Even if Xiao He and the others were unwilling in their hearts, the truth was right in front of them. As long as Gu Hao was here, it would be difficult to deal with Mo Wutian and the others. Just as Xiao He and the others were about to retreat back to the primal chaos Dantian, a black shadow appeared. It was none other than the evil ancestor's primordial spirit. "Longao, let me help you." Longao was very helpless and grateful. He originally did not agree to the evil ancestor coming out, but the evil ancestor insisted on dealing with Gu Hao. Not to mention the fact that the evil ancestor had already lost his primordial spirit, even the evil ancestor from before would not be able to contend against Gu Hao. However, Longao was very clear about one thing. Since the evil ancestor had made such a decision, he definitely had his own way to deal with Gu Hao. He also wanted to deal with Gu Hao and the others. Although the 10 chaotic divine beasts had all recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, with Gu Hao, a martial artist who was half a step into the Tao validation realm, it was indeed impossible for him to kill Mo Wutian and the others. If the evil ancestor could deal with Gu Hao, then the rest would be much easier. The evil ancestor's primordial spirit directly covered Gu Hao. Not only that, Longao's burning heart fire lotus also appeared, and the person who controlled the burning heart fire lotus was none other than Xianyuan Bubi. "Old thing, you've finally appeared." Seeing the appearance of Xianyuan Bubi and the evil ancestor's primordial spirits, Gu Hao did not continue to pester the 6 chaos divine beasts. His target was the 2 Tao-confirming primordial spirits and their Tao-confirming seed. As for the life and death of Mo Wutian and the others, Gu Hao did not care at all. Even if Mo Wutian and the others all died, it didn't matter to him at all. As long as he could obtain the Tao validation seed and primordial spirit, the chances of him successfully confirming his Tao would be very high. You go deal with them." Although he was worried about the safety of his master and the evil ancestor, things had already come to this. Longao also knew that this matter had to be resolved quickly, and he absolutely could not give up this opportunity. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. No one knew if his master and the evil ancestor would be able to stall Gu Hao. Longao brought the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and rushed towards Mo Wutian's group of 4 with his fastest speed. If it was just Longao alone, they wouldn't be afraid at all. However, the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts had all recovered to the primal Chaos Reincarnation realm. What kind of concept was that? Longao and the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were a total of 11 Chaos martial artists. With 4 against 11, it was obvious what the result would be. Evil Moon and the other 3 didn't even think about it as they turned around and left. As the saying goes, a wise man doesn't fight when the odds are against him. If they wanted to kill Longao, there would be plenty of opportunities in the future. However, under such circumstances, how could Longao give up this opportunity? Without giving the 4 any chance to escape, Longao brought the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and started attacking the 4 of them. The reason why Longao had the confidence to deal with the 4 of them was not only because the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts had all recovered to the primal Chaos Reincarnation realm, but more importantly, it was because of the Chaos Divine Beasts diagram. The 10 Chaos Divine Beasts had joined forces and successfully activated the Chaos Divine Beasts diagram. They were prepared to use it to kill Mo Wutian's group and eliminate all future troubles. The Chaos Divine Beasts diagram released an endless sea of blood. With the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts controlling the Chaos Divine Beasts diagram, its power was incomparable to before. Chapter 33:13. Longao, you're courting death? He snorted coldly. With the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, the first person the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts dealt with was Nangong Yin. Longao was the angriest towards Nangong Yin. If it wasn't for Shuang's good luck, she would have already fallen. This time, Nangong Yin and the Divine Mathematician were people he had to kill. The 10 Chaos Divine Beasts naturally knew what their boss meant, so they immediately trapped Nangong Yin and the Divine Mathematician and attacked with all their strength. It only took a few minutes. It didn't even take more than 10 moves. Whether it was Nangong Yin or the Divine Mathematician, they had already suffered heavy injuries and retreated repeatedly. They were even almost killed several times. They were completely afraid. Nangong Yin and the Divine Mathematician had never imagined that the Chaos Divine Beast diagram would be so powerful. Longao had also used the Chaos Divine Beast diagram before, but it could only contend against one Chaos Reincarnation realm martial artist. It was almost impossible to heavily injure 2 Chaos Reincarnation realm martial artists in such a short time. It was complete nonsense. But now, the truth was in front of them. Even if they didn't want to believe it, they could only accept it. The two were even more clear that the reason why the Chaos Divine Beast diagram had such heaven-defying power was because Longao had gathered the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. Both of them controlled the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, but the difference in power was huge. They weren't on the same level. Both Shiyue and Mo Wutian were scared silly. Even Shiyue believed that he wouldn't be able to withstand such terrifying power. The current Longao was no longer the same as before, unless Gu Hao personally took action. However, the current Gu Hao didn't care about their lives at all. The plan now was to leave the Reincarnation Valley as soon as possible. As for killing Longao, that was a matter for the future. However, it was already impossible to kill Longao in this situation. After all, Longao had already gathered the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Evil Moon was very fast and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Just as Mo Wutian was about to leave, he was stopped by Longao. Longao naturally didn't want to let anyone go, but he knew that it wasn't realistic to stop Evil Moon. He was making a choice. In the end, he chose to leave Mo Wutian and the other 2 behind and let Evil Moon leave first. In any case, as long as Evil Moon was not together with Gu Hao, then with the power of the Primal Chaos Divine Beast diagram, it would be enough to kill Evil Moon. You could say that. Evil Moon was no longer a threat to him. Longao, you have Judas. Let's forget about the grudge between us. What do you say? It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Judas was terrified. If they fought one-on-one, he wouldn't fear Longao. Even if he couldn't kill the Longao couldn't kill him. There was no doubt about it. But now, the situation was completely different. Longao had gathered the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. He had seen the power of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram with his own eyes. Even Evil Moon was scared and ran away, let alone him. Forcefully resisting Longao at this time was a completely suicidal approach. At this moment, Mo Wuqian no longer wanted to kill Longao or claim a primordial spirit. All he wanted was to get out of Reincarnation Valley. Longao sneered. How could he not know what Wuqian was thinking? If not for the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts opening the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, Wuqian wouldn't have acted this way. If you cut the grass without removing the roots, it will grow again. Longao didn't want to leave himself any trouble. Whether it was for Judas or his family, he didn't hesitate to act. Without wasting any more time, the god-slaying finger shot out rapidly. The surrounding space started to tremble and even started to collapse. Even if it was a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist, as long as they were sucked into the collapsing space, they would definitely die. Forget a samsara warrior, even a half-step vindication warrior wouldn't dare step into the collapse of space. This was the power of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. It was easy to imagine just how powerful the Godslayer finger was. Only a vindication warrior could ignore the collapse of space. It was for this reason that Wuqian Mo dodged again and again, fearing he would be caught in it. Already scared out of his wits, Wuqian Mo didn't want to fight Longao. All he wanted was to get out of here as quickly as possible. The more this was the case, the more passive Wuqian Mo became. If they were to fight normally, whether or not Longao would be able to kill him was still a question. But now the situation was completely different. The more Longao fought, the braver he became. His Godslayer finger continued to unleash a torrent of terrifying power. The space around him began to crumble. Longao, don't tell me that you really want to make a life and death struggle before you are satisfied? In Wuqian Mo's opinion, as long as Longao wasn't an idiot, there was no way he would take him down with him. No matter what, he was still a samsara warrior. Even if Longao had a vindication martial skill, it wouldn't be easy for him to destroy him unscathed. What makes you think you can do that? Longao did not care about Mo Wuqian's threat. Not only did he use the god-slaying finger, but he also used his Yuan spirit to attack. A chaotic samsara realm martial artist using his Yuan spirit to attack a chaotic samsara realm martial artist was too crazy. It was almost impossible to succeed. Under normal circumstances, Longao wouldn't have any confidence in succeeding. But now Wuqian Mo was like a frightened bird. Under the power of his Godslayer finger, Wuqian Mo's primordial spirit would not be able to retaliate. As expected, as the Godslayer finger and primordial spirit attacked, Wuqian Mo screamed. His face paled, and his body began to sway. From beginning to end, Wuqian Mo never imagined that he would one day fall to such a state. If his opponent was a samsara warrior, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But now, Longao hadn't even recovered to his peak. Just by borrowing the power of samsara, he could threaten Wuqian Mo. If he hadn't experienced it himself, Wuqian Mo wouldn't have believed it. The more this happened, the more terrified he became. He didn't want to die, otherwise he wouldn't have betrayed Judas. But under these circumstances, leaving Samsara Valley would be difficult. Longao, I am willing to submit to you. Stop. If he didn't want to die, he had no choice but to submit. In Wuqian Mo's opinion, submitting was better than dying. After breaking through to such a high level of cultivation, he wouldn't be willing to die unless it was absolutely necessary. If it had been any other primal chaos samsara cultivator, even if it had been Master Godly Mathematician or Nangong-yin, he would have been willing to accept it. After all, he knew very well what it meant to be a primal chaos samsara cultivator. However, he could not accept Mo Wutian's submission. He knew that if he did, he would be abandoning Judas. Chapter 33:14. Compared to Judas, Mo Wutian was nothing. There was no question. Longao wouldn't give up on Judas for the sake of Wutian Mo. It was impossible. Wutian Mo had overestimated himself. From Mo Wutian's point of view, as long as he chose to submit, Longao would definitely agree to his request without any hesitation. But the result? Longao didn't answer. Instead, he continued his frenzied assault. His attacks were his answer. Wutian Mo was truly angry. As a Chaos Samsara warrior, he'd never been so humiliated in his many years in the primordial chaos. He was also very clear that under such circumstances, Longao definitely wanted to kill him. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Wutian Mo didn't want to die together with his foe. Wutian Mo was terrified of death. Longao's primordial spirit attacks combined with the power of the Godslayer fingers suppressed Wutian Mo. If not for the fact that Longao's cultivation was still stuck in the chaos of samsara, Wutian Mo wouldn't have been able to withstand more than a few blows. The more he fought, the more frightened and desperate he became. Even now, Wutian Mo couldn't figure out why Longao was so strong. It was all because of the doctrine of Tao. The way Wutian Mo saw it, if not for Longao's doctrine of Tao, how could Wutian Mo possibly be his match? It was utter nonsense. What Mo Wutian did not know was that ordinary primal chaos reincarnation realm martialists were unable to cultivate Tao verification martial technique. The god-slaying finger that Longao had cultivated was the evil ancestor's unique Tao verification martial technique. Longao, I beg of you, spare my life. Wutian Mo stumbled back, nearly sucked in by the collapse of space. If that happened, he'd be dead for sure. The evils you bring upon yourself are the hardest to bear. You could say that. For Mo Wutian to fall to such a state, it was all his own doing. If he hadn't chosen to give up on Judas, Longao wouldn't have had the chance to obtain it. If that had happened, the 10 Chaos Sacred Beasts wouldn't have been able to return to the Chaos Samsara level. This was retribution. However, it was too late for Mo Wutian to regret. The spatial power of the god-slaying finger shook the surrounding space continuously. Traces of black space collapsed and swept out in all directions. Even Longao found it difficult to continuously use the god-slaying finger. If this continued, even if he managed to kill Mo Wutian, it wouldn't be a good thing for him. He couldn't allow this to happen. At the other side, the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts, with the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, launched a series of frenzied attacks. Both Master God Diviner and Nangong-yin were heavily injured. Based on the current situation, the two of them probably wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Gu Hao was currently facing two great primordial spirits, and Evil Moon had disappeared without a trace. As for the life and death of the remaining three, whether it was Gu Hao or Evil Moon, they did not care at all. Mo Wutian and the other two were thoroughly depressed. Not long ago, they had been trying to kill Longao, but Longao only dared to hide in the Chaos Palace. In just a few short hours, the situation had completely reversed, and Longao could slaughter them. If they had known earlier, they wouldn't have given up on Judas, Gu Hao, or Evil Moon. Even if one of them attacked, Judas wouldn't have been taken away by Longao. In the end, no one would have thought that Longao would suddenly attack. If they weren't careful, the consequences would be unimaginable. It was precisely because of this that Longao had the chance to obtain Judas, gather the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts, and open the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Facing such a terrifying power, Nangong-yin and Master God Diviner were completely stunned. If nothing unexpected happened, they would most likely be doomed this time. As for Gu Hao, including Mo Wutian, they didn't count on him at all. In Gu Hao's eyes, there was only primordial spirit and Tao. It was better to rely on oneself than on others. The more the two fought, the more afraid they became. They had to leave as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were given the chance, they wouldn't even have the chance to escape. However, under such circumstances, the two were firmly suppressed by the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts, and suffered heavy injuries. Their bodies were like kites with their strings cut. They flew out and fell heavily to the ground. Let's go. The two deliberately did this because only then would they have a chance to escape. They turned and left and used the blood mist technique. In a short while, they had disappeared without a trace. Blackie and the others were completely dumbfounded as they watched their figures disappear. They had never imagined that the two would be so shameless as to try to escape. In the end, it was the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts who had been careless. Otherwise, with the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, it would have been impossible for the God Diviner and Nangong Yin to escape. Regarding the matters over here, Longao saw everything clearly. He couldn't split himself, but he didn't say anything. After Blackie and the others were free, they immediately began to help Longao attack Mo Wutian. In this moment, Wutian Mo couldn't stand against Longao alone, much less with the help of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts. In a few short minutes, Wutian Mo was on the brink of collapse. He no longer had any hope of escape. Judas, for the sake of our many years of friendship, I can't thank you enough for letting me go. Shameless. He'd seen shameless people before, but never this shameless. However, Longao and the others didn't say anything. Wutian Mo's life depended on Judas' whims. If he said he'd kill, then he'd kill. Even if he said he'd let Wutian Mo go, they wouldn't say a word. How could Judas not know Longao's intentions? He sneered. The moment you gave up on me, our friendship was severed. You're ruthless. I'm ruthless. Judas' face was full of scorn. How dare Wutian call him ruthless? He didn't want to argue any further. He turned to face Longao. Longao, you decide Wutian's fate. Longao knew what Judas meant. No matter what, Judas and Wutian had been friends for many years. Asking Judas to kill Wutian with his own hands wasn't something he could bear. Sighing deeply in his heart, Longao waved his hand. His meaning was clear. Xiao He and the rest had no feelings for Mo Wutian. They wanted nothing more than to kill him immediately. Just as Xiao He and the rest were about to strike, Mo Wutian suddenly burst out laughing. His laughter was filled with insanity as he said, Longao, you want to kill me? Just you? Even if I, Mo Wutian, were to fall, I'll drag you down with me. Fa ha 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 ha. He laughed maniacally. Mo Wutian's body began to tremble violently. His primordial spirit released a terrifying aura that scattered in all directions. Chapter 33:15 Primordial Spirit Self-Detonation. Longao never thought that Mo Wutian would choose to self-detonate his primordial spirit. The self-detonation of a primordial spirit cultivator, one could imagine what it meant. Retreat? In the blink of an eye. The 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts, including Longao, all disappeared. Mo Wutian's primordial spirit self-detonation was unable to cause any harm to Longao. The battle didn't even last 10 minutes. Gu Hao stared at the 2 great primordial spirits in front of him, feeling pleasantly surprised. Until now. He never thought that other than Xianyuan Bubi, Longao would actually have the evil ancestor's primordial spirit in his body. Now that Mo Wutian was dead and Evil Moon had run away, no one would fight with him for the Tao Confirmation Seed and the Tao Confirmation Primordial Spirit. Gu Hao, you traitor, back then. He was not willing to continue talking about the past. With a face full of disgust, Gu Hao said impatiently, "The winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Xianyuan Bubi, back then you also had your own reservations. Otherwise, I would have already confirmed my Dao." Humph! Hearing Xianyuan Bubi's heavy snort, Gu Hao didn't care at all. Looking at Longao, who suddenly appeared beside the two of them, Gu Hao sneered and said, "Do you think that Longao has already gathered the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts and activated the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, and can contend against me?" With the strength of a half-step Dao confirmation warrior, Gu Hao was completely confident. However, Xianyuan Bubi sneered and said, "Gu Hao, you should know that as long as we are willing, with the power of the Burning Heart Fire Lotus, we can still destroy you. If that's the case, you will also vanish into thin air." Xianyuan Bubi sneered and said nonchalantly, "As long as I can pull you along, I won't hesitate even if I have to vanish into thin air." Staring at Xianyuan Bubi in front of him, Gu Hao didn't know if what Xianyuan Bubi said was true or false. It was better to be safe than sorry. If Xianyuan Bubi could really do it, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Fight it out? If he won, he could get everything he wanted, even the primordial spirit and the Dao validation seed. At that time, as long as there were no accidents, he could successfully validate his Dao. If he were to lose, he might not even be able to survive, much less obtain those items. Are you scared? Actually, Xianyuan Bubi was not completely confident that he would be able to drag Gu Hao down with him. If there was a 50% chance, Xianyuan Bubi would not hesitate. It was just as he said. Right now, he didn't care about his own life and death at all. As long as he could burn together with Gu Hao, he wouldn't hesitate. It was precisely because he did not have absolute confidence that Xianyuan Bubi was unwilling to act rashly. The more mysterious Xianyuan Bubi was, the more Gu Hao did not dare to act rashly. At this moment, Longao sneered and said with a sneer, "Gu Hao, don't think that you are invincible just because you are half a step into the Dao validation martial artist. You think you can do it?" Gu Hao's face was filled with ridicule and disdain. He did not place Longao in his eyes at all. Not to mention the current Longao, even if it was the Longao at his peak, he would still not care. This was the strength of a half-step into the Dao validation martial artist. Unless a true Dao validation martial artist descended, how many people in the entire Chaos realm would be his match? How could Longao not know what Gu Hao was thinking? He sneered and said, "Gu Hao, I believe you have seen it too. The Chaos Beast diagram has already been activated, gathering the power of the 10 great Chaos Beasts, even if it is you." Ha 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 ha. Laughing maniacally, his laughter was filled with endless ridicule and disdain. Gu Hao did not take Longao's words to heart at all. In his opinion, if Longao could really use the Chaos Beast diagram to deal with him, would Longao still be talking nonsense with him? "Longao, you and I are both smart people, there is no need to play riddles here, and you don't need to scare me. To tell you the truth, your life and death, I do not care at all. I only want Xianyuan Bubi's primordial spirit and Dao validation seed. As for the evil ancestor's primordial spirit and Dao validation seed, I will give them to you. What do you think?" In Gu Hao's opinion, as long as Longao obtained the primordial spirit and Dao validation seed, he would be able to successfully validate his Dao. For Dao validation, no one could resist such a temptation, and Longao was no exception. As for himself, as long as he could obtain Xianyuan Bubi's Dao validation seed and primordial spirit, as well as the burning heart flame lotus, he would no longer have any worries. Gu Hao was extremely wary of Longao's chaos points. If he were to fight head-on, he would definitely not be afraid. However, as long as Longao brought 2 primordial spirits into the Chaos Palace, he would not even have the chance to regret it. Trash. Longao could not be bothered to say anything more. He was truly unable to kill Gu Hao, otherwise, he would not have wasted any more words and would have directly attacked. It was precisely because of this that he did not act rashly. He did not want to alert the enemy, and did not want Gu Hao to know his true situation. As long as he could gather 6 treasures and successfully break through from the Chaos Life and Death realm to the Chaos Reincarnation realm, at that time, as long as he joined forces with the 10 Chaos Beast, he would definitely be able to fight against Gu Hao. Let's go. Without giving Gu Hao any chance to attack, Longao brought Xianyuan Bubi and the primordial spirit of the evil ancestor and left. From the beginning to the end, Gu Hao did not make a move. Previously, when Longao was dealing with Mo Wutian and the others, Gu Hao had countless opportunities to make a move, but in the end, he still endured it. It was still the same thing. He could not be sure if Xianyuan Bubi would be able to take him down with the help of the heart-burning fire lotus. In particular, there was another immortal soul besides Xianyuan Bubi. If it were not for the fact that Xianyuan Bubi was wary, he could imagine what would have happened. Gu Hao coldly looked at Longao and the 2 primordial spirits who had disappeared in front of him. He coldly said, "I will let you know that even if you have the Chaos Palace, you will not be able to block my attack." Although he did not obtain the reincarnation fruit within his primal Chaos Dantian, he had successfully killed Mo Wutian and scared away Evil Moon and the other 2. Aora, you have to find the reincarnation fruit as soon as possible. When your cultivation recovers to the primal Chaos Reincarnation realm, the evil ancestor and I will do our best to help you. At that time, even if you face Gu Hao or any other martial artist who is half a step into the Dao validation, you will still have the strength to fight. Xianyuan Bubi did not finish his words. Even with their help, it was still unknown whether Longao could kill a martial artist who was half a step into the Dao validation. However, with Longao's strength and situation, even if he could not kill a martial artist who was half a step into the Dao validation, he could at least contend against one. This was without a doubt. Chapter 33:16. Gu Hao's face was gloomy. If he had known earlier, he would have made a move earlier. Mo Wutian had fallen, and the remaining 3 had all fled. He was the only one left. Wanting to deal with Longao was really not an easy task. Could it be that he had to keep guarding like this? If it was just Longao alone, Gu Hao would not be afraid at all. Even if Longao had already gathered the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts and activated them, not to mention the current Longao, even if Longao was at his peak, he would not be afraid. The only thing that worried Gu Hao. Within Longao's primal Chaos Palace, there were 2 great primordial spirits. What kind of concept was that? Once the evil ancestor or Xianyuan Bubi lost their minds, then Longao would be able to devour the Dao verification seed. Once Longao succeeded, not to mention himself, even if a true Dao verification warrior came, he might not be a match for Longao. The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. What should he do? What Gu Hao was afraid of was also something that the evil ancestor could not figure out. Because according to the evil ancestor's thoughts, as long as Longao devoured the Dao verification seed, then he could completely succeed in his Dao validation. It was completely unnecessary. In the end, the evil ancestor still asked. Xianyuan Bubi smiled helplessly and said, "I believe you already know that Aor has condensed the chaotic sacred body. If he does not change his physique, not to mention successfully confirming his Dao, it is unknown whether he can break through the primal chaos reincarnation realm. So that's how it is." Of course, the evil ancestor knew that Longao had condensed the chaotic sacred body. Throughout the entire primal chaos realm, including the Dao verification warriors, no one had ever been able to condense such a sacred body. As for whether the sacred body could prove the Dao, without a doubt, as a legendary sacred body, if even the chaotic sacred body could not prove the Dao, then it would be a bit too ridiculous. He did not continue to ask. The evil ancestor only knew one thing, and that was that once Longao gathered the 6 treasures, it would definitely bring him endless benefits. Not to mention the others, just among the 6 treasures, the primal chaos tree and the Tao verification seed were the most tempting existences in the world. Longao sat quietly in his mind, thinking about how to obtain the samsara fruit. Right now, it was not the best time to deal with Gu Hao. The most important thing now was to seize the reincarnation fruit. Gu Hao had been guarding outside the entire time, so it could be said that it was difficult for him to move an inch. Boss, why don't the 10 of us work together to trap Gu Hao, and you go and seize the Samsara Valley? According to the combined power of the 10 of us, we should be able to stall Gu Hao for about 10 minutes. Of course, Longao knew what Blackie meant. The 10 Great Chaos Divine Beasts. Once they opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, they could completely stall Gu Hao. Even if Gu Hao was a martial artist half a step into the Tao validation. If there was any other way, Longao would not agree at all. It was just that the current situation was very disadvantageous to him. After all, he did not know if Gu Hao would think of a way to deal with him. He had to seize the Reincarnation Valley as soon as possible, then leave this place and search for the last Netherworld water. Be careful. Blackie and the other 10 Chaos Sacred Beasts were filled with confidence. If this had happened in the past, they wouldn't have been so confident. However, things were different now. Not only had Blackie and the others recovered to the Chaos Reincarnation state, they had even opened up the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. And these were just the 10 Great Chaos Divine Beasts who had just recovered to the Chaos Reincarnation state. If all 10 Great Chaos Divine Beasts were to break through to the Chaos Reincarnation state, it wouldn't be hard for them to kill Gu Hao with the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. This was the terror of the 10 Great Chaos Divine Beasts and the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. In the next second, 10 figures appeared one after another. The moment they appeared, the 10 Great Chaos Divine Beasts started attacking Gu Hao crazily without caring about anything else. Gu Hao had no idea what was going on. However, facing the 10 Great Chaos Divine Beasts and the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, he did not dare to be careless in the slightest. At this moment, Longao's figure appeared at the same time. He took a deep look at the great battle over here. Without any hesitation, he headed towards the southeast direction. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. What was going on? Gu Hao was curious to begin with. Why would Longao come here out of nowhere for no reason? It must be to obtain something. Now that the 10 Great Chaos Divine Beasts were obstructing him, it was clear that they wanted to stall him. Gu Hao was no fool. Instantly, he understood what was going on. It was one thing to understand, but it was another to want to chase after them. All of you scram? With just you? Trash. The 10 Great Chaos Divine Beasts naturally knew of the urgency of the situation. The longer they could hold on, the more advantageous it would be for their boss. And that was the reason why the 10 Great Chaos Divine Beasts were attacking crazily. In that moment, even Gu Hao could not do anything about it. While this crazy battle was going on the other side, Longao followed the aura of the evil ancestor and sprinted all the way. In an extremely hidden cave, he truly found the legendary reincarnation fruit. A total of 12 reincarnation fruit. After being pleasantly surprised, Longao immediately stored all 12 reincarnation fruits into his primal chaos dantian. Suddenly, a strange sound came from all directions. It was getting closer and closer. It was very ear-piercing. Even Longao could not tolerate such a strange sound. The sound could corrode the primordial spirit. Startled, Longao did not dare to be careless and immediately dodged. Bugs the size of soybeans continuously appeared from all directions. The bugs were densely packed, and in an instant, they had already filled the entire cave. With a cold snort, although Longao did not recognize this kind of bug, it was very terrifying. It could actually corrode the primordial spirit. Not to mention himself, even the primordial spirit of a primal chaos reincarnation martial artist could be corroded. This was the terrifying part of this bug. From within his primal chaos dantian, he continuously summoned fire bug puppets, forming a fire bug puppet chi barrier around him. The countless bugs in the surroundings began to attack crazily, but the fire bug puppets were not afraid of death at all. No matter how many came, they would kill. He had to leave this place as soon as possible. Longao did not continue to stay here. With a stride forward, he headed out of the cave. Just as he left, he met Gu Hao, who was rushing over. He was overjoyed and immediately headed towards Gu Hao. Gu Hao and Longao had just met, and in an instant, Longao and the 10 great primal chaos divine beasts that had rushed over, including the fire bug puppets, all disappeared without a trace. Following Longao and the others returned to the primal chaos dantian, all the bugs attacked Gu Hao. The pitiful Gu Hao did not know what was going on from the beginning to the end, but in an instant, Gu Hao had already retreated, and his primordial spirit was even corroded. If not for relying on his powerful protection, if it was a normal primal chaos reincarnation warrior, he would have died long ago. Chapter 33:17. This kind of nameless bug was very terrifying. Even with Gu Hao's strength, it would be difficult for him to contend against these endless bugs. Gu Hao's face became more and more gloomy as he retreated. Humph! He snorted coldly. Even if he had 10,000 unwillingness and anger in his heart, under these circumstances, Gu Hao would definitely not dare to stay any longer. He immediately turned around and left. In a few short minutes, countless bugs had already covered the entire Samsara Valley. They were everywhere, densely packed, and looking at them made one's scalp go numb. These bugs were here to protect the Samsara fruit. If not for the fact that he had the primal chaos dantian, it would not have been easy for Longao to leave the Samsara Valley. However, wealth came from danger. No matter what happened, he had obtained the Samsara fruit. Longao had already thought of how to distribute the 12 Samsara fruit. Master, Evil Ancestor, Chiener, and the others all had one. After all, he only needed one of them. The rest of the Samsara fruit were all given to Xiao He and the others. Yun Qian and the other two really needed the Samsara fruit. Although they had not been reborn, the realm of their primordial spirit had already been greatly improved. Longao, your luck is really good. The bugs you encountered before were incomparably powerful. According to my guess, the reason why these bugs were unable to surround and attack you and Gu Hao was because the bug queen was missing. At this point, the evil ancestor did not continue speaking, but the meaning behind his words was already very clear. Longao felt the same way, but he did not care at all. After all, there were some things that depended on luck. If not for the fact that he had subdued the evil ancestor and did not obtain the evil ancestor's help, not to mention seizing the Samsara fruit, it would be unknown if he could even lock onto the Samsara fruit. The Samsara fruit is good for all of you. Hurry up and consume it. Whether it was Xianyuan Bubi or the evil ancestor, they both knew what Longao meant. Without any hesitation, they immediately consumed the Samsara fruit in their hands. Longao was also pleasantly surprised. This time, he had successfully obtained the Samsara fruit. Of the 6 treasures, he still had not obtained the nether water. Once he obtained the nether water, then without a doubt, his cultivation would be able to smoothly recover to the primal chaos Samsara realm with the help of the 6 treasures. He was looking forward to it. Even more, he couldn't wait. No matter what, he only had 5,000 years left. Don't think about Tao validation for now. Breaking through the primal chaos reincarnation realm was more important. It would be even better if he could enter the half-step Tao validation realm. There were no more obstacles. Longao successfully left the reincarnation fruit. This time, it was Gu Hao and the others who felt the most oppressed. Not only did they not successfully kill Longao, they even caused death, injuries, and escape. Even Gu Hao returned without any success. He had really tried to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. If he had known earlier, he didn't know if Gu Hao and the others would have regretted it. However, the current evil moon and the others had already regretted it to the extreme. The news of Mo Wu Tian's death and disappearance instantly spread throughout the primal chaos realm. The entire chaotic realm was shaken. Mo Wu Tian's status and strength were clear for all to see. As a dignified chaos reincarnation cultivator, he had been killed by Longao. It was obvious what this meant. Not only that, Evil Moon, Nangong Yin, and the divine mathematician all fled. Even Gu Hao, who was half a step into the Dao validation realm, had no way of killing Longao. From this, one could imagine how terrifying Longao's strength had become. Sangya and Han Wu were the most excited. The two of them were very clear on what Mo Wu Tian's death meant to them. Without the slightest hesitation, whether it was Sangya or Han Wu, they immediately began to attack the Devil Palace. Without a primal chaos reincarnation cultivator guarding the Devil Palace, in a short half a month, it was completely destroyed by the two super forces. All the demonic Dao martial artists went into hiding. The demonic palace and the demonic Dao martial artists that had flourished for a time all vanished without a trace. Han Wu and Sangya did not kill them all. After all, there were too many Devil Dao martial artists in the entire chaotic realm. It was impossible to kill them all. Furthermore, no one knew what would happen if they were cornered. As for Gu Sect, although Gu Hao did not successfully kill Longao, his strength was enough to deter the entire chaotic realm. A half step into the Dao validation realm cultivator's strength was far above a primal chaos reincarnation cultivator. Even Han Wu and Sangya did not dare to provoke Gu Hao. This was the strength of a half step into the Dao validation realm cultivator. This was the deterrence of a half step into the Dao validation realm cultivator. It was precisely because of this. Even if the Devil Palace was completely destroyed, neither the Domain Lord Alliance nor the Pill Hall dared to deal with Gu Sect. As long as Gu Hao did not fall, Gu Sect would dominate the chaotic realm in the future. No one would dare to provoke him. After destroying the Devil Palace, the Domain Lord Alliance and the Pill Hall once again dominated the first heavenly region. The two super forces were still the same as before, each occupying half of the heavenly region. Gu Sect did not do anything out of line. This was what the two of them were truly worried about. With their strength, even if they joined hands, they would not be a match for Gu Hao. Once Gu Hao brought Gu Sect to attack them, they would not be able to resist. However, under such circumstances, they could only take one step at a time. Just when the two of them were at a loss, Longao suddenly found the two of them. At the peak of a mountain, the three of them sat on the ground. Han Wu and Sangya looked at each other. At this time, the two of them asked in unison, "I wonder how Brother Long did it?" Longao naturally knew what the two of them meant. He did not hide it and said with a smile, "Juying is already my brother. The 10 primal chaos divine beasts have opened the primal chaos divine beast diagram, and all of them have recovered to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Unless it is a half step into the Dao validation realm like Gu Hao, not to mention an ordinary primal chaos reincarnation cultivator, even Evil Moon would not be able to contend against them." As long as he could find Evil Moon, Longao was confident that with the combined might of Xiao He and the others, it would not be difficult to kill Evil Moon. As for facing Nangong Yin and the others, killing them was something that could be done in a matter of minutes without any suspense. Although the two of them had already guessed it, hearing Longao say it himself, the two of them could not help but be shocked. They were very envious of Longao's luck. Throughout the entire primal chaos realm, There was no one else who could have such luck to gather the 10 primal chaos divine beasts and obtain the primal chaos divine beast diagram. It could be said that there was no one else in the past. As for whether there would be no one in the future, that was unknown. Brother Long, you want to kill Evil Moon and the others? The two of them had already guessed that with Longao's current strength, since he could kill Evil Moon and the others, they believed that Longao would definitely not let them go. As for Gu Hao, there was nothing he could do. Nodding his head, Longao said with a smile, "That's right, I'm doing my best to find traces of Evil Moon and the others. But before that, I have something to ask the two of you. P.S. I wish everyone a happy National Day in advance. I didn't have time during the Mid-Autumn Festival, so I'll make up for it this time. In the next few days, Little Nine will try his best to explode." Chapter 33:18. What is it? Brother Long, tell us what you need us to do. As long as we can do it, we will not refuse. The two of them were not fools. How could they not guess Longao's thoughts? Since Longao came to find them, how could it be for no reason? If it was before, the two of them could ignore it. But now, the situation was different. Longao's current strength was enough to move unhindered in the Chaos realm. Unless he encountered a half-step Dao validation expert or a true Dao validation expert. Thinking about it, one knew what it meant. The two of you, have you heard of Netherworld Water? Dealing with Nangong Yin and the others was not urgent. The urgent thing was to find the so-called Netherworld Water as soon as possible. In this case, he could gather 6 treasures and smoothly break through the Chaos Reincarnation realm. Netherworld Water? Songya and Han Wu did not seem to think that Longao would suddenly mention the so-called Netherworld Water. But when Longao saw the expression on their faces, he already knew that the two of them very likely knew about the Netherworld Water. His heart was suddenly filled with joy. The two of you, the Netherworld Water is very important to me. As long as I can obtain the Netherworld Water, my cultivation can smoothly break through from the Chaos Life and Death realm to the Chaos Reincarnation realm. The two of them sighed because the two of them suddenly remembered that Longao in front of them was only in the so-called Chaos Life and Death realm. His cultivation had not broken through the Chaos Reincarnation realm. Brother Long, to be honest, we do know about the Netherworld Water. Where is it? Songya thought for a while. His face was very gloomy as he said, Netherworld Water, the legendary treasure of the Netherworld. No one has ever seen it. We have only heard of it. Netherworld? Where was this place? Longao had never heard of the so-called Netherworld. But no matter where it was, as long as there was Netherworld Water, he must obtain it. Whether it was climbing a mountain of blades or going into a sea of fire. The two of you, what kind of place is the Netherworld? The two of them seemed to be unwilling to talk about the Netherworld. After all, the legendary Netherworld was too dangerous. It could be said that it was full of dangers, but since Longao had already asked, the two of them did not hide anything. After hearing this, Longao's face became incomparably solemn. According to the two of them, the primal chaos realm was the most powerful plane in the entire space. There were countless starry skies all around, supporting this space together. And in the crevice of the chaos realm, there was an independent space, the so-called Nether realm. Very few people stepped into the Nether realm, but once they did, it would be very difficult for them to come out again. As for whether the people who entered were dead or alive, that was unknown. The Nether water was the most precious treasure of the Nether realm. As for what it was used for, no one knew. Brother Long, the Nether realm is filled with danger. Even primal chaos samsara cultivators don't dare to casually step into it. Let me give you a piece of advice. It's best if you don't rashly step into it. Brother Han is right. You can think of other ways. The two of us will fully support you. Of the 6 treasures mentioned by his master, he had already obtained 5 of them. The only thing left was the netherworld water. If he chose to give up just like that, Longao would definitely not agree. He was determined to obtain the netherworld water. Longao did not care about the nether realm, let alone the so-called dangers. It was still that sentence. As long as he could obtain the netherworld water, even if he encountered danger, he would not hesitate. The two of you, I've already thought about it. I must step into the nether realm. I wonder if the two of you know where the entrance to the nether realm is? Songya and Han Wu looked at each other. You look at me, I look at you. They could see the deep helplessness in each other's eyes. Since Longao was determined to go, they had no other way. Very few people in the Chaos Realm know about the Nether Realm. But the two of us know where the entrance to the Nether Realm is. He was pleasantly surprised. Longao never thought that not only did the two of them know where the Netherworld water was, they even knew the entrance to the Nether Realm. However, Longao also knew that things were not so simple. Why would the two of them know where the entrance to the Nether Realm was? After all, the two of them had just said that very few people knew where the Nether Realm was. As if he could guess what Longao was thinking, Songya deeply sighed and helplessly said, Brother Long, to be honest, there were many people who entered the Nether Realm. Among them were my master and brother Han's master. It's just that even after so many years, the two of them still haven't come out. Songya did not say whether his two masters were dead or alive. As for the masters of these two people, Longao certainly knew. Han Wu's master was Yen Nantian and Songya's master was Ning Zhonghe. Both of them were famous existences in the Chaos Realm. The two of them were half-step Dao-confirming martial artists, but for some unknown reason, the two of them had suddenly disappeared. It turned out that the two of them had entered the Nether Realm. If it weren't for Songya and Han Wu personally telling him, Longao really wouldn't have known about this. It's not just the two of them. Even Mo Wutian's father, Mo Ying, has also entered. There are also other half-step Dao-confirming martial artists. Could it be that the Nether Realm has a temptation that can make cultivators reach Dao-confirming? Half-step Dao-confirming martial artists were already the most powerful existences in the Chaos Realm. Longao really couldn't figure out why so many half-step Dao-confirming martial artists would enter the Nether Realm. Unless the Nether Realm had a temptation to reach Dao-confirming. It should be. Master didn't mention it at the beginning, but according to Master, opening the Nether Realm is not an easy task. At the very least, one has to be a half-step Dao-confirming martial artist. Even an existence like Evil Moon can't open the entrance to the Nether Realm. Hearing this, Longao's heart suddenly sank. What he was afraid of had come. On his side, including himself, no one was a half-step Dao-confirming martial artist. If that was the case, then wouldn't they be unable to open the Nether Realm? If they couldn't open the Nether Realm, then everything was nonsense. They couldn't even step into the Nether Realm, let alone seize the so-called Nether water. His expression became more and more dignified. Originally, he thought that since he had already obtained the whereabouts of the Nether water, no matter how dangerous it was, as long as he had hope, he would not choose to give up. But now, he needed a half-step Dao-confirming martial artist to open the Nether Realm, but he couldn't open it at all, let alone obtain the so-called Nether water. This was simply nonsense. How could he not be depressed? Brother Long, others can't do it, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. What do you mean? Longao was very curious. Could these two people let him enter the Nether Realm? If this was the case, Longao was already disappointed. He once again stared at the two people in front of him. Brother Long, you just said that you have gathered the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts and opened the Chaos Divine Beast diagram, so you only need the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Chapter 33:19. Whether or not the Chaos Beast diagram could open the Nether Realm, even Songya and Han Wu were not completely confident. How could Longao not know? He did not continue asking. No matter what, he had to give it a try. Goodbye. Take care. Longao did not stay any longer. He got up and left. In the blink of an eye, he had already disappeared without a trace. It's really hard to believe that Longao could actually kill Imowutian. If Longao can really enter the Nether Realm this time, once Emoing does not die, Longao will be in big trouble. Both of them were very clear. Although Longao could kill Imowutian, it did not mean that he could contend against a half-step Dao validation martial artist. Otherwise, he would not be unable to deal with Gu Hao. The chances of Longao entering the Nether Realm were too high. Once he stepped in and met Emoing, one could imagine the consequences. As for whether Emoing was alive or dead, the two of them still did not know. Not only Emoing, even their master, they did not know if he was alive or dead. Of course, the two of them hoped that their master was not dead. It was just that none of the people who entered the Nether Realm were able to leave the Nether Realm alive. Looking at the figure that had already left, whether it was Tsangya or Han Wu, both of them sighed deeply. It was mostly helplessness. Neither of them wished for anything to happen to Longao. After all, Longao was their friend. Inside the primal chaos Dantian. After hearing Longao's words, Evil Ancestor and Xianyuan Bubi looked at each other. The two of them shook their heads and said, Aor, we have also heard of the Nether Realm. However, we do not know the specific situation of this place. We have never entered the Nether Realm. So that's how it is. Longao was not surprised in the slightest. After all, there was no need for a Dao validation martial artist to step into the Nether Realm. Longao, if you want to enter the Nether Realm, we will not object. However, be careful. Evil Ancestor and Xianyuan Bubi were very clear about what the Nether Water meant to Longao. If Longao was unable to obtain the Nether Water, it would be difficult for him to return to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Now that he had gathered 5 treasures and was only missing the Nether Water, even if they tried to stop him, Longao wouldn't give up so easily. Brother Long, are you really going to enter the Nether Realm? Qin Shuang was extremely worried. She was very clearly aware of what sort of place the Netherworld was, and the slightest carelessness would probably cause endless trouble and danger. As for Brother Long's chaotic Dantian, there was nothing he could do, because as long as Brother Long was willing, she would not be able to casually go out. At that time, even if Brother Long was in danger, she would not know, let alone help. Qin Shuang naturally didn't want Brother Long to go to the Nether Realm. However, Qin Shuang knew Longao's character very well. As long as he had decided on something, he would not change it casually under normal circumstances. How could Longao not know what Shuang meant? She smiled. Shuang, you don't have to worry. Once I encounter danger, I will not hesitate to enter the primal chaos Dantian. Not to mention a half-step Dao validation martial artist, even a true Dao validation martial artist might not be able to lock onto my primal chaos Dantian. Longao was completely confident that a half-step Dao validation martial artist would definitely not be able to lock onto his own primal chaos Dantian. Otherwise, Gu Hao would not have left just like that. As for whether or not a Dao validation martial artist could do this, Longao did not know. Fortunately, it was impossible for a Dao validation martial artist to exist in the Nether Realm. After all, a Dao validation martial artist was not a cabbage on the street. As for a half-step Dao validation martial artist, he was not afraid at all. Qin Shuang seemed to want to say something, but Longao continued with a smile. Shuang, believe me, when we enter the Nether Realm and successfully obtain the Nether Water, then with the 6 treasures gathered, we will be able to smoothly break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Once his cultivation successfully broke through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, even if he was unable to kill a half-step Dao validation martial artist, it would still be more than enough to kill an expert of Evil Moon's level. It could be said that, As long as his cultivation successfully broke through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, then he would be the #1 person under the half-step Tao validation martial artist. Even if he faced a half-step Tao validation martial artist, he would still have the strength to fight. In the beginning, Longao had never understood why his 9-revolution primal chaos mantra had successfully broken through to the peak of the 7th revolution, but his cultivation was still unable to break through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. One had to know that when his 9-revolution primal chaos mantra broke through to the peak of the 7th revolution, his cultivation had already reached the peak of the primal chaos reincarnation realm. He was only one step away from successfully confirming his Tao. At that time, he had never thought of stepping into the half-step Tao validation realm. Instead, he had prepared to directly cross the half-step Tao validation realm and enter the Tao validation realm. But now Longao completely understood. The reason why he had broken through to the peak of the 7th revolution of the 9-revolution primal chaos mantra and his cultivation had remained in the primal chaos life and death realm was because of his primal chaos sacred body. If possible, he would rather not condense the sacred body of primal chaos. It was a complete scam. If not for condensing the sacred body of primal chaos, he believed that the current him would have already recovered to his previous peak state. However, since things had already come to this, he could only search for the nether water. Even though he clearly knew that the nether realm was filled with dangers, he still had to do so. With a deep sigh, Qin Shuang's face was filled with helplessness. She originally wanted to say something, but she forcefully swallowed it back down. Before heading to the nether realm, Longao had locked onto the whereabouts of Nangong Yin and the others. He hoped that he could first kill Nangong Yin, the divine mathematician, and evil moon. This way, it could be considered as solving a few problems. As for Gu Hao, when he reached the half-step Tao validation realm, it would be the day he killed Gu Hao. However, after the trip to the Reincarnation Valley, Evil Moon and the other two seemed to have evaporated into thin air, disappearing without a trace. Longao was unable to lock onto them at all. Under such circumstances, to lock onto their tracks in the vast primal chaos realm was like looking for a needle in the sea. It was simply impossible. How could Longao not know about this matter? He felt helpless. If nothing unexpected happened, Evil Moon and the other two should have already gone into hiding. He had already successfully gathered the 10 primal chaos divine beasts and opened the primal chaos divine beast diagram. Killing the 3 of them was not difficult. In the end, it was Evil Moon, Nangong Yin, and the divine mathematician who were afraid. No one was not afraid of death, including the primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivators. Primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivators were more afraid of death than ordinary people. After all, when one's strength reached their level, not to mention death, they even wanted to be immortal. Very helpless, but there was no other way. With endless unwillingness, Longao left the first heavenly region. According to Tsangye and Han Wu's words, he could rest assured and headed towards the nether realm. Chapter 33:20 Netherworld Realm. Very few people knew the true location of the Nether Realm. In fact, very few people knew that there was actually such an independent space in the Chaos Realm. The location of the Nether Realm was in the crevice of the Chaos Realm. What kind of concept was that? Ordinary Chaos martial artists would not be able to step into the crevice. Even primal chaos reincarnation martial artists had to take great risks to enter the crevice. Only half-step Tao validation martial artists could easily step into the crevice. Although Longao was only at the primal chaos life and death realm, he had already comprehended the 4th sacred art, reincarnation transcendence. Reincarnation transcendence could block attacks from all directions. Huff, huff, huff between the cracks. Whistling sounds continuously came from all around. It sounded extremely terrifying. Longao was very clear that if he did not use reincarnation transcendence, he really would not be able to stay in the crevice for a long time. He quickly locked onto the target. Longao didn't want to waste any time. He locked onto the exact location of the nether realm as quickly as possible. If he was alone, it would not be easy for him to lock onto the netherworld. Luckily, with Songye and Han Wu's guidance, Longao quickly locked onto the exact location of the nether realm. The huge black hole was like a tornado, engulfing the surrounding space. "Boss, get out of the way. We will definitely help you open the entrance." Longao nodded. He knew that he was not strong enough to move the entrance to the underworld. He could only rely on Blackie and the other Chaos Divine Beasts to see if they could open the entrance to the underworld with the help of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. The 10 Chaos Divine Beasts were the Sky-Devouring Divine Beast, Jiao-Ing Divine Beast, Zhu-In Divine Beast, Pai Xiao Divine Beast, Qiao-Nyo Divine Beast, Swanee Divine Beast, Sky-Splitting Divine Beast, Golden Enai Divine Beast, Nine-Headed Dragon Python, and Taotai Divine Beast. In front of the 10 Chaos Divine Beasts, the Chaos Divine Beasts diagram began to surge with boundless power of the Blood Sea. They began to attack the entrance in a frenzy. After receiving such a terrifying attack, the black tornado began to slowly stop spinning. He was overjoyed. Just as Songye and Han Wu said, the 10 great Chaos Divine Beasts could indeed open the entrance to the netherworld by borrowing the power of the Chaos Divine Beast diagram. Without hesitation, Longao knew that even if the 10 chaotic holy beasts could force open the entrance, they would not be able to maintain it for long. There was only one chance. He could not give up so easily. Whoosh! Longao's silhouette flashed like lightning and disappeared with a whoosh sound. As Longao disappeared into the black fog tornado, Blackie and the other divine beasts of chaos, including the divine beast map of chaos, disappeared without a trace. A black light flashed. Longao had already stabilized his body. Looking at the unfamiliar space around him, he already knew that if nothing unexpected happened, he had successfully entered the nether realm. The unknown space was filled with danger. Boom, boom, boom. A series of terrifying explosions echoed in the 9 heavens. Longao was very surprised. He never thought that he would encounter such a thing as soon as he stepped into the netherworld. It turned out that, not far away, a powerful chaotic martial artist was attacking a huge dragon in a frenzy. The huge dragon was at least 10,000 feet long. At a glance, it was terrifying. Half-step Dao Validation Martial Artist and half-step Dao Validation Divine Beast? He would be lying if he said that he wasn't shocked. The netherworld? What in the world was this place? Why was he seeing a huge battle between a half-step Dao Validation Martial Artist and a half-step Dao Validation Divine Beast the moment he stepped into the netherworld? If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Longao did not interfere. After all, it was a battle between half-step Dao Validation Martial Artists. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't, and there was no need for him to. The battle between man and beast continued to escalate. It was obvious that both man and beast wanted to kill the other. However, both of them were equally matched in terms of strength. It was almost impossible to determine a winner in a short period of time. Boom! There was a loud explosion. Just then, the man and beast separated. Looking at each other, they could see the deep hatred and killing intent in each other's eyes. Be it half-step Dao Validation Divine Beasts or ordinary chaotic Divine Beasts, none of them were willing to take on human form. In the eyes of chaotic Divine Beasts, taking on human form was a shameful thing. Even Blackie and the other chaotic Divine Beasts did not want to take on human form, let alone this huge dragon. "Emoing, you'd better scram. You're not qualified to snatch my essence blood." Emoing? Hearing this name from the huge dragon's mouth, Longao was startled. Of course, he was not unfamiliar with this name. Mo Wutian's father was Mo Ying, a powerful half-step Dao validation martial artist. When Longao became a chaotic samsara martial artist, Mo Ying was already a half-step Dao validation martial artist. However, he had suddenly disappeared, so Longao had never seen him. Longao never expected that Mo Ying was still alive. It seemed that even a half-step Dao validation martial artist could only enter the nether realm. It was impossible for them to leave. Longao seemed to think of something, and the expression on his face was very interesting. According to his guess, many half-step Dao validation martial artists had entered the nether realm. Since Mo Ying was not dead, then Sangya and Han Wu's masters were also alive. He had just killed Mo Wutian. If Mo Ying were to find out about this, he could imagine the consequences. Mo Ying would definitely not hesitate to deal with him. Fortunately, no one in the nether realm knew about what happened outside. As long as he did not say anything, Mo Ying would not know even if he was beaten to death. Humph, immemorial void dragon, you only need a part of your essence blood. As long as you promise me, then from now on, you and I will be on the same side. How about it? Immemorial void dragon? Longao was startled when he heard Mo Ying mention the immemorial void dragon. Of course, he knew what the immemorial void dragon meant. This was a legendary divine dragon. Its status was very different from the nine-headed dragon python. Back then, the nine-headed dragon python bred the dragon clan, and the immemorial void dragon looked down on it. Longao also did not expect to meet the legendary immemorial void dragon in the nether realm. He wasn't willing to continue staying here. Who knew if the man and the beast would deal with him? After all, with his strength, he was just an ant in front of the man and the beast. He had entered the nether realm this time for the sake of obtaining the nether water. There was no need to provoke the man and the beast. But what was the result? Before entering the nether realm, Longao was full of confidence because he had the primal chaos dantian. However, he did not expect that it would be so difficult to step into the primal chaos dantian after entering the nether realm. He could forcefully enter the primal chaos dantian, but Longao had a feeling that once he forcefully entered the primal chaos dantian, it would probably collapse. Longao trusted his intuition and was not willing to take any risks. Chapter 33:21. The fusion of the Dantian with the Chaos Palace had yet to mature. Longao was clear that in order for his chaotic Dantian to mature, the 9-revolution chaos formula had to reach the peak. The 9-revolution chaos formula, the peak of the 9-revolution chaos formula, it was easy to think about but difficult to do. The nether realm was not simple. Longao knew that the reason why he had such an intuition was definitely related to the nether realm. There was no doubt about it. He let out a deep sigh. Helplessness was written all over his face. The chaotic Dantian that he relied on the most had already entered. It seemed that he was in big trouble next. Mo Ying, if you succeed in proving your Tao, I might still be afraid of you, but now, the primordial void dragon did not finish his sentence, but the expression on his face had already explained everything. His face was filled with mockery and disdain. He did not take Mo Ying seriously at all. A man and a beast, their strength was almost the same. It could be said that the two of them could not do anything to each other. How could Mo Ying not know the situation, but he needed the primordial void dragon's essence blood. He wanted to try and see if it could help him to prove his Tao. When he first stepped into the nether realm, it was to prove his Tao, but he did not expect that after countless years, no matter what he did, he still could not prove his Tao. How could he not be depressed? As long as he could prove his Tao, no matter what price he had to pay, it would be worth it to him. Primordial Void Dragon, you should know why I need your essence blood. I can promise you that as long as I succeed in proving my Tao, I will do my best to help you prove your Tao, How about that? Bullsh *t. Do you think I will believe you? The primordial void dragon's face was filled with mockery. If he believed Mo-ing, he would be a fool. Get lost. If I see you again, I will tear you apart completely. Mo-ing did not continue to stay. Before he had full confidence, he knew clearly that there was not much point in him staying. Looking at Mo-ing, who turned to leave, the primordial void dragon said coldly, "A small chaotic life and death dares to appear here. Looks like my primordial void dragon's deterrence is useless." Hearing the primordial void dragon's words, Longao's heart skipped a beat. "Senior, I stepped into this place unintentionally. I have no other intentions. As for offending you, it's nothing." The primordial void dragon's face became gloomier, the aura on his body to suppress him. He was startled. Longao did not expect that the immemorial void dragon would attack just like that. He was completely enraged. He tried peaceful means before resorting to force. He did not plan to become enemies with the immemorial void dragon, but he was not afraid of the immemorial void dragon. So what if the primordial void dragon was a half-step Tao verification divine beast? If it were any other chaotic life and death warrior, they would have been scared to death in the face of such a terrifying chaotic divine beast. Except for Longao. He wasn't afraid of anything. Not to mention half-step Tao validation divine beasts. He wasn't even afraid of true Tao validation divine beasts. He snorted coldly. The primal chaos axe appeared in his right hand. Without saying a word, he struck towards the immemorial void dragon. The primal chaos 9 axes struck out continuously, one after another. Courting death. The ancient void dragon did not expect that a mere chaotic life and death martial artist would dare to take the initiative to deal with him. The other party thought that he was Mo-ing. Even if Mo-ing was Mo-ing, he wouldn't dare to do this. The ancient void dragon was truly enraged, especially after the fight with Mo-ing. He was even more enraged. Dragon roars resounded continuously, his roar resounding through the 9 heavens. Longao was only one step away from breaking through the chaotic reincarnation realm. Even so, he could still use the primal chaos axe to fight with the ancient void dragon. He wanted to use the chaotic divine beast diagram, but Longao did not dare to casually communicate with his chaotic Dantian. Who knew what would happen? Once his chaotic Dantian collapsed, he would not even have the chance to regret. In such a situation, he could only rely on himself. God-slaying finger. The surrounding space began to collapse continuously. Looking at the collapse of the surrounding space, the ancient void dragon looked as if he had seen a ghost and was completely stunned. As everyone knew, only a true Tao verification divine beast could cause space to collapse. As for a half-step Tao verification divine beast, it was impossible to do so. It was a complete fool's dream. If that was the case, how did the other party do it? The ancient void dragon could clearly sense that the other party was not even a half-step Tao verification divine beast, but a chaotic life and death martial artist. He had not even reached the chaotic reincarnation realm. Could it be that the other party was hiding his strength? It was simply nonsense. The ancient void dragon was completely stunned. Longao became braver as the battle went on. However, he also knew that there was a huge difference in strength between him and the ancient void dragon. If the battle went on for a long time, he would definitely not be able to compete with the ancient void dragon. The most important thing now was to leave as soon as possible. The ancient void dragon looked at the figure that was getting further and further away. The reason why he did not chase after him was that he did not want to give Mo-ing a chance to take advantage of him. Who knew if Mo-ing was in the dark? If he suffered a loss and gave Mo-ing a chance to take advantage of him, he would not even have the chance to regret. Secondly, the other party could actually cause space to collapse. This was something that only a Tao verification divine beast could do, but he did not expect that a mere chaotic life and death martial artist could really do it. just as Longao was rushing away. "Your Excellency, please stop." Seeing Emoing suddenly appear in front of him, Longao's heart moved. However, he did not show any expression on his face. He stopped and said with a smile, "May I know why brother is stopping me?" "My name is Emoing." "Longao?" Longao did not know why Emoing stopped him. No matter what, Emoing did not know that he had killed Emowutian. Could it be that Emoing had just seen him fighting the ancient void dragon and breaking the space? "Brother Long, you can actually cause space to collapse. I would like to ask, how did you do it?" Emoing was shocked. He had seen the battle between Emoing and the ancient void dragon with his own eyes. That was why he had never thought that a chaotic life and death martial artist could cause space to collapse. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have thought of it. "Brother Emo, forgive me for being blunt. The reason why I can cause space to collapse is because of this chaotic divine tool in my hand." Of course, Longao would not tell the truth. If Emoing knew that the reason why he could cause space to collapse was because he had cultivated a Dao verification divine tool, he believed that Emoing would definitely snatch it away. Even if a half-step Dao verification divine tool obtained a Dao verification divine tool, they would not be able to cultivate it. A heaven-defying Dao verification divine tool like the God-slaying finger could even be cultivated by chaotic life and death martial artists. Once this spread out, one could imagine what it would mean. Staring at the axe in Longao's hand, Emo Ying's mouth revealed a trace of greed. Chapter 33:22. Greed. Longao sneered in his heart. It seemed that Emoing was not a good person either. Emoing was indeed greedy. A chaotic divine weapon that could cause space to collapse, it was obvious what it meant. Although he was greedy, Emoing did not attack immediately. Emoing knew that if he did not have the confidence to kill Su Emo, he would lose everything if he attacked hastily. He had seen Longao fighting the immemorial void dragon with his own eyes. Not only did he not die, he retreated unscathed. Unbelievable. That was right. Emoing suppressed the greed in his heart and said with a smile, "Brother Long, I have something that I need your help with. What do you think?" "Brother Emo, please tell me." Longao seemed to have guessed what Emoing wanted to say. "Brother Long, I want to obtain the immemorial void dragon's essence blood. It's difficult to do it alone." Longao did not say anything and listened quietly. How could he not know what Emoing meant? If he could not cause space to collapse, why would Emoing look for him? In the end, Emoing wanted his help because he could cause space to collapse. Although Longao was unhappy, he did not turn hostile because of Emoying's strength. However, he knew that once Emoing found out that he had killed his son, he would definitely deal with him. There was no doubt about it. As long as Brother Long can help me obtain the immemorial void dragon's essence blood, I will help you to break through the chaotic reincarnation realm. How about that? In Emo Ying's opinion, his offer was very tempting. As long as Su Emo was not stupid, he would definitely agree to it without hesitation. However, what happened in the end? Longao purposely looked terrified and said, "Brother Emo, forgive me for being blunt. My strength is not enough to fight against the immemorial void dragon. Brother Emo, please find someone else." Rejected. Hearing Su Mo's rejection, Emoing was furious. "You have such a powerful sacred weapon. It's not difficult for us to deal with the immemorial void dragon together." Longao did not say anything, but his meaning was clear. "State your offer." He had been waiting for these words. Longao didn't hold back at all. No matter what, he had entered the netherworld realm this time for the sake of obtaining the netherworld water. As long as he could obtain the nether water, he would be able to obtain the 6 treasures and break through the primal chaos reincarnation realm. "Brother Devil, I need netherworld water." Netherworld water? Emoing was very surprised. He didn't know what Longao meant. Why did he want the netherworld water? "Brother Long, What do you need the netherworld water for? Breakthrough. Longao's explanation was very clear. Emoing was surprised. He smiled and said, Brother Long, who told you that the netherworld water can help a martial artist break through? Master Xianyuan Bubi. However, Longao didn't say anything. Instead, he said, It has been hundreds of millions of years since I broke through the chaotic samsara realm. However, I still can't smoothly break through the chaotic samsara realm. Coincidentally, I heard someone say that as long as I consume the nether water, I can smoothly break through. Longao had just finished speaking. Ha 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 ha. Longao was curious. He didn't know why Emoing would laugh out of nowhere. Brother Long, pardon my bluntness, but you must have been scammed by someone. It's hard to imagine if you're someone from the netherworld. Longao's heart skipped a beat. Mo Ying's words had a deeper meaning. However, he did not reply. The netherworld water can be found everywhere in the netherworld. In the chaos realm, legends say that the netherworld water can help a martial artist break through. However, it's completely impossible. The netherworld water only has a single function. What function? Longao wouldn't doubt the words of his master. Since his master had said that as long as he could obtain the netherworld water, he would be able to break through the chaotic samsara realm smoothly. There was no need for his master to lie to him. As for the words of Emoing, Longao did not doubt him in the slightest bit. After all, even he didn't know what was going on. It can quench my thirst. Holy F***ck. Even though Longao had guessed countless possibilities, he was still completely stumped by this answer. This mother***ker was way too speechless. To think that it could only quench his thirst. Emoing took out a small bottle from his bosom and said, This is the legendary netherworld water of the Chaos Realm. I don't know who spread this rumor intentionally. However, ever since I entered the netherworld, I've seen the netherworld water the most. Taking the netherworld water, even though Longao was unwilling to believe it in his heart, the truth was right before his eyes. He had no choice but to believe it. But no matter what, he had already obtained 6 treasures. As long as he gathered them, he should be able to break through to the chaotic samsara realm. Alright, I promise you. However, you've got to give me 3 days. 3 days later, we'll meet here. Emoing did not even think about it as he chuckled out, I believe in Brother Long, goodbye. Goodbye. Looking at the departing figure, Mo Ying's face instantly turned gloomy. Greed filled his face as he muttered to himself, A mere chaotic samsara realm cultivator dares to negotiate with me. I'll make you regret it later. Emoing was almost certain that the other party must have come from the chaos realm. Otherwise, as someone from the netherworld realm, how could he not know about the netherworld water? This was simply nonsense. However, what he could not understand was how a mere chaotic samsara realm cultivator could enter the netherworld realm. He could not figure it out. However, Emoing did not continue speaking because he knew very well that once he killed Longao 3 days later, he would get everything he wanted. In the distance, in a very secluded cave, Longao knew very well that Emoing had already placed a chi on his body. However, he did not remove this chi. He had originally planned to help Emoing deal with the immemorial void dragon. He felt helpless, but more than that, he was depressed. It was not easy to obtain the netherworld water and successfully gather 6 treasures. Under normal circumstances, he should be able to break through. However, he could not enter the chaotic Dantian at all. In this case, what was the use of obtaining the netherworld water? He had already tried. It was easy to enter but difficult to leave. It was impossible to leave the netherworld realm. Under such circumstances, he had to enter the chaotic Dantian as soon as possible and break through to the chaotic samsara realm first. The special situation of the netherworld realm made it impossible for him to easily step into the chaotic Dantian. If the chaotic Dantian collapsed, not to mention himself, even his master, evil ancestor, Shuang Shuang, Shao Qian, and the others would all disappear without exception. In this case, what should he do? After thinking about it, Longao could not think of a good idea. The more he thought about it, the more depressed and anxious he became. Chapter 33-23. He was helpless to the extreme. His expression was solemn. Suddenly, Longao seemed to have thought of something and his face was filled with surprise. Although he couldn't enter his chaotic Dantian and take out the other 5 treasures, he could carefully communicate with his master and let him give out the 5 treasures. As expected, "Master, I have successfully obtained the underworld water." Xianyuan Bubi was also surprised. After hearing Longao's words, he wasn't surprised at all. Xianyuan Bubi smiled and said, "Ao, the underworld water can only be unlocked in the nether realm. But in the chaos realm, it is an extremely rare item. If you want to break through the chaos reincarnation realm, you can't do without the underworld water." "I see. The rarer something is, the more precious it is. The underworld water might not be much in the nether realm, but in the chaos realm, it was the rarest treasure." Longao didn't continue to think about it. He didn't care about the value of the underworld water as long as it could help him break through the chaos reincarnation realm. "Ao, I have already discussed with the evil ancestor. You don't need to fuse with the entire chaos tree. You just need a branch. Master, please make the decision." Actually, Longao had already thought of it, but he didn't say it. The Chaos Tree was the #1 divine item in the Chaos realm. If he were to swallow the entire Chaos Tree, it would be a pity. If a branch could do it, why would he waste the entire Chaos Tree? It was completely unnecessary. In the next second, a branch from the Chaos Tree, a reincarnation fruit, a Chaos reincarnation divine beast's beast core, a tricolor flower, and a bottle of underworld water. "Ao, I originally wanted you to fuse with my chaos seed. That way, not only can you break through the chaos reincarnation realm, you can even prove your Tao easily." How could Longao not know about his master's good intentions? But his master had something that he didn't say. Longao was very curious and didn't know what his master meant. "Ao, after thinking about it and the evil ancestor's suggestion, I don't want you to fuse with my Tao proving seed. When you break through the chaos reincarnation realm, you can prove your Tao and condense the Tao proving seed. That way, after you break through the Tao proving realm, you can go further." "I see." Longao roughly understood what his master meant. Once they fused with the Tao verification seed, it would be almost impossible for them to go higher and further after their Tao verification. If he were to validate his own Tao and condense a Tao validation seed, it would be a completely different concept. The two could not be compared. "Master, you said that I need to gather 6 treasures to break through to the Chaos reincarnation realm because of the Chaos Saint body." At this point, Longao did not continue, but the meaning of his words was very clear. Xianyuan Bubi smiled and said, "You don't need 6 treasures. You only need 5 treasures. As for the vindication seed, I added it on purpose." So that was the case. Longao didn't waste any more words. He immediately began to merge the 5 treasures and consumed them all. Although his master didn't say much about whether he could break through the primal chaos reincarnation realm, Longao wasn't sure. After waiting for so many years, he didn't dare to imagine what would happen if he failed. He had to succeed. The moment the 5 treasures entered his body, they began to flow into every part of his body, changing Longao's Chaos Saint body. The Chaos Saint body. The legendary Saint body. Longao did not know why the Chaos Saint body would hinder his cultivation. Longao could clearly sense that the moment the 5 treasures entered his body, they turned into a warm current that was fusing with his body type. It wasn't a change at all. Changing the Chaos Saint body was easier said than done. In fact, it was practically impossible. However, whether or not the 5 treasures could fuse with his body type would depend on whether or not his cultivation state could break through. Boom, boom, boom. Longao was still at the lowest point of the fusing power of the 5 treasures. In the short span of a few minutes, he had fused with his body type completely. Just as Xianyuan Bubi had said, it hadn't even been 2 hours since Longao had consumed the 5 treasures. The 2 powers within his body, life and death, had begun to fuse together to form reincarnation, giving birth to the power of reincarnation. At this moment, Longao's cultivation state had successfully broken through from the chaos life and death state to the chaos reincarnation state. Longao's face was filled with joy. He had not expected that he would be able to break through this quickly after fusing with the 5 treasures. This was something that could be done in a matter of minutes. Taking in a deep breath, even though he could not enter his chaos dantian, Longao could still communicate with his master and tell him about how he had successfully broken through to the chaos reincarnation state. Xianyuan Bubi was elated as well. Even though I've never entered the underworld before, based on what you've said, the underworld shouldn't be a simple place. You've got to be careful at all times. As for the ancient void dragon, if you could obtain his essence blood, that might not be a bad thing for you. Master, I understand what to do. Originally, he had thought that it would take a long time to break through, but unexpectedly, he had successfully broken through in just 2 hours. However, he had made an agreement with Moing for 3 days. It was not the right time to go back now. At this time, Longao had to stabilize his realm first. The current Longao was very confident in his own strength. If he were to face Nangong Yin or the divine mathematician again, he would not need to rely on the power of the 10 chaos divine beasts. Just by relying on himself, he would be able to kill them in an instant. Even if he were to face Evil Moon, he had full confidence that he could kill him. However, Longao was also very clear that with his current strength, he was still unable to contend against a half-step Dao validation martial artist. After all, the strength of a half-step Dao validation martial artist was still there. In this way, Longao's heart was beating like a drum. He did not know if his 9-revolution chaos technique would break through to the half-step Dao validation martial artist or the Dao validation martial artist once he broke through to the 8th revolution. Finally, his cultivation had successfully broken through. Longao was pleasantly surprised. At the same time, he began to stabilize his realm, hoping that he could reach the peak of the chaos reincarnation state as soon as possible. Only then would he have the hope of breaking through to the half-step Dao validation martial artist. The next day, Longao looked at the primal chaos axe in front of him and found that although his primal chaos axe was incomparably powerful, it was still not on the same level as the primal chaos palace, the Qian Kuan space and other chaos divine tools. I must improve the power of the primal chaos axe as soon as possible. Longao was very unwilling to give up on the primal chaos axe. After thinking about it, he still wanted to improve the power of the primal chaos axe. However, it was easy to think about, but difficult to actually do. After all, it was not easy to improve the power of a chaos divine tool. Chapter 33-24. Master, do you have a way to increase the power of the axe? After listening to Longao's general idea, Xianyuan Bubi fell silent. Longao did not urge him in the slightest. After all, it was not easy to increase the power of a chaotic divine weapon even for a Dao validation warrior. After a few hours, I've already observed your axe. Master, how is it? It's very powerful, but as you said, the axe can't keep up with your footstep. Wait until you become a half-step Dao validation warrior or a Dao validation warrior. He nodded. How could Longao not know what his master meant? He was helpless. It was also because of this that Longao could not wait to increase the power of the axe. I've thought about it. If I want to increase the power of the axe and help you, I have to refine it well. Master, what should I do? You deal with the rest first. As for the axe, I'll think about it. Longao did not continue to dwell on it. He also knew that increasing the power of the axe was not something that could be done overnight. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Looking at Emoing in front of him, Longao sneered and said, "Brother Emo, what should we do? You should know that I'm just a chaotic samsara warrior. Although I can use the divine weapon in my hand to cause the space to collapse, I believe that I can't help you." Longao did not mention that he had successfully broken through to the chaotic samsara realm, especially in front of Emoing. There was no doubt about it. In the future, he and Emoing could only be enemies, not friends. There was no doubt about it. Especially when Emoing knew that he had killed Emo Wutian, he believed that Emoing would not hesitate to deal with him. "Brother Long, you just need to create a diversion. Leave the rest to me." "Okay." Emoing did not expect Longao to agree so quickly. After a short discussion, the two immediately walked forward. 10 minutes later. "Emoing, you're truly courting death. You want my essence blood? I'll let you know the price you'll have to pay." Looking at Emoing, who suddenly appeared in front of him, the primordial void dragon was completely enraged. If it wasn't for the fact that Emoing's strength was so difficult to deal with, he would have killed Emoing long ago. Emoing had provoked him time and time again. It was simply intolerable. If he did not kill this person, he would not be able to vent the hatred in his heart. Ha! Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! Emoing laughed maniacally, not willing to speak any more nonsense. Emoing was very clear about his relationship with the other party. Only one of them could survive. Without any hesitation, he made a move. His attacks were very crazy, wave after wave, as if they could topple mountains and overturn seas. In the blink of an eye, the man and the beast engaged in a fierce battle. Longao, who was not far away, looked on coldly. According to the agreement between him and Emoing, he would immediately take action when the opportunity presented itself. As long as he could stall the primordial void dragon, he would leave the rest to Emoing. The opportunity had come. Just as the battle between the man and the beast was reaching its climax, Longao darted out like an arrow. His body turned into a bolt of lightning as he appeared swiftly. At the same time, he started attacking wildly as well. "Puny human, how dare you sneak an attack on me? I will have you die without a burial ground." Emoing had not expected Longao's attacks to be this sharp. Seemed like he had underestimated the other party. The more this was the case, the more he wanted to end this battle quickly. He wanted to kill Longao immediately. That way, all the treasures on Longao would belong to him. If Longao were to break through the chaos reincarnation state in the future, or even half a step to Tao validation state, even Emoing himself might not be a match for the other party. He was wary of the other party. Under the combined forces of Longao and Emoing, the primordial void dragon roared out continuously. The dragon's roar reverberated through the 9 heavens. One had to admit that the strength of the primordial void dragon was indeed extremely strong. Even in a situation where it was 1 against 2, there were no signs of it being defeated. Instead, it had the upper hand. The more they fought, the more Emoing felt. Only now did Emoing realize that the primordial void dragon had definitely concealed its strength during the battle. Just as Emoing was attacking the primordial void dragon with all his might. At the critical moment, Longao, who was originally attacking the primordial void dragon, suddenly launched a sneak attack on Emoing. His attack was extremely vicious. It was obvious that he wanted to kill the other party. He did not expect that Longao would launch a sneak attack on him. After being hit by Longao, he spat out a mouthful of blood and almost died. "You're courting death. No matter what the other party meant, Moing was truly enraged. Fortunately, his defensive power was not bad. Moreover, the other party was not as strong as him. It was hard to imagine that if the other party was also a half-step to Dao validation martial artist, he would definitely die under the sneak attack. Even the primordial void dragon did not know what to do, let alone Moing. He did not know why the other party would attack Moing out of nowhere. However, the primordial void dragon could not care less as he continued to attack the both of them. While dodging, Longao chuckled, Moing, seems like you've already guessed that I'm not someone from the netherworld, but from the outside. Since that's the case, I'll tell you then. Not only do I know your son, Mo Wutian, I've even killed him. What can you do to me? Ha 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 ha. Looking at Longao, who was laughing maniacally, Moing was already severely injured to begin with. When he heard that his son was killed by the other party, he nearly fell over. Suppressing the rage in his heart, he roared out, Longao, I, Moing, swear right here and now that I, Moing, swear that if I don't kill you in this lifetime, I, Moing, swear that I'm not human. The moment he finished speaking, Moing turned around and left hurriedly. Before long, he had disappeared without a trace. Looking at the leaving figure, the primordial void dragon's face was filled with curiosity as he asked, Why did you sneak an attack on Moing? The primordial void dragon could not figure it out. The two of them were clearly on the same side. Why would this person sneak an attack on Moing out of nowhere? It was a little ridiculous, but it was a real thing. Furthermore, even if the other party was not a so-called chaotic life and death martial artist, but a chaotic reincarnation martial artist, facing a half-step Dao validation martial artist, he would not even have time to suck up to him. How dare he sneak an attack on him? You've heard it just now. I've killed his son. Even if we're still on the same side now, once he finds out about this, he'll definitely deal with me in the future. Since that's the case, I might as well do it now. The primordial void dragon laughed coldly. You humans are really shameless. But you've just attacked me. How do you want to settle this score? How do you want to settle it? Longao laughed coldly as well. He was not afraid of the primordial void dragon. He was not afraid in the past, and he was even less afraid now. Even if he could not beat him now, it did not mean that he could not beat him in the future. At most, he would leave immediately and wait till he was a half-step Dao validation martial artist before coming back to deal with the primordial void dragon. P.S. Happy National Day! Chapter 33:25. He looked at the primordial void dragon before him coldly. A terrifying battle intent was released from his body and rolled out. You want to fight with me? He snorted coldly. The primordial void dragon did not care about the other party at all as he suppressed him with his terrifying aura. He wanted to test him. How could Longao not know what the primordial void dragon meant? The surrounding aura started to form a vortex. No matter how terrifying the primordial void dragon's aura was, it would be scattered by the vortex. He seemed to be surprised. The primordial void dragon did not seem to have expected that a small chaos reincarnation martial artist would be able to withstand his aura suppression. He continued to release more aura suppression. Gradually, Longao started to be unable to withstand it. After all, the other party was a half-step Dao-proving god beast, and his cultivation state was far above him. However, Longao did not take a step back as he looked at him coldly. Just as Longao was about to be unable to withstand it, the god-slaying finger turned into a horrifying vortex that caused the surrounding space to collapse. No matter how strong the aura released by the primordial void dragon was, once it encountered the space collapse, it would all turn into nothingness. This was the terror of the space collapse. The reason why Dao-proving god beasts were stronger than half-step Dao-proving god beasts, other than their own strength and various mystic skills, was the so-called space collapse. Longao could only release the space collapse, but he could not make use of it to kill the enemy. Otherwise, so what if he was facing a half-step Tao-proving god beast? Ha 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 ha! All of a sudden, the primordial void dragon suddenly laughed out wildly. Longao did not say anything and continued to look at him coldly. He wanted to know what the primordial void dragon meant by this. What's your name? Longao. I have something that I need your help with. If you're willing, I'll give you a sufficient price. How about that? Tell me about it first. Of course, Longao would not agree immediately. Who knew what the primordial void dragon would ask him to do? If he could agree, he would definitely not reject it. If he could not agree, even if the primordial void dragon threatened him, he would not agree. So what if it was a half-step Tao-proving god beast? Perhaps other people were afraid of half-step Tao validation divine beasts, but Longao did not have the slightest fear. Later, I'll go find the ancient devil tiger to fight. All you need to do is enter its lair and help me find something. It sounded simple. However, Longao was very clear that this matter was absolutely not that easy. To be able to become the primordial void dragon's opponent, there was no doubt that the primordial demon tiger was also a half-step Tao validation divine beast. Longao neither agreed nor refused. Instead, he asked with a smile, "What can I get?" That was the most important thing. The ancient void dragon smiled and said, "What do you want?" "I have a divine artifact. If you can increase the power of this divine artifact, I can promise you." Longao did not have much hope, but he heard his master's words and wanted him to give it a try. After all, the primordial void dragon's power was there. If he could really borrow the power of the primordial void dragon to increase the power of the primordial chaos axe, it would be a good thing. No problem. Longao did not hold back. He took out the primordial chaos axe and threw it to the ancient void dragon. Your divine artifact is already very good. Together with your strength, you're an invincible existence in the chaotic reincarnation realm. Even the peak chaotic reincarnation realm martial artists are no match for you. Do you want it? Before the ancient void dragon finished speaking, Longao had already interrupted him and said, "It's far from enough." The ancient void dragon did not continue to ask. He immediately began to use the power in his body to refine the primordial chaos axe. After a few hours, the power of the primordial chaos axe had greatly increased. However, for Longao it was still far from enough. However, Longao was also very clear that the ancient void dragon could only do so much. Holding the primordial chaos axe, he could feel that the primordial chaos axe was indeed different. We can begin. Longao did not ask what the ancient void dragon wanted him to do. He was very clear that the ancient void dragon would take the initiative to speak when it was time to speak. There was no need for him to ask. Following the ancient void dragon, Longao flew at his fastest speed. After about half an hour, the man and the beast entered a denser forest. "Ancient void dragon, you dare to step into my territory. I'll let you know the price." As soon as the man and the beast stepped into the forest, Longao heard a tiger roar that reverberated throughout the 9 heavens void. Then, in less than a few seconds, a giant tiger appeared in midair. "Demonic tiger, as long as you hand over that thing, I'll leave immediately. Otherwise, today will be yours." Without waiting for the primordial void dragon to finish speaking, the primordial devil tiger had already attacked. In the blink of an eye, a dragon and a tiger, 2 half-step Tao validation divine beasts, fought together. The strength of the 2 half-step Tao validation divine beasts was almost the same. Longao finally knew why the primordial void dragon wanted his help. The ancient void dragon did not have full confidence in being able to control a martial artist of the same level. Therefore, the ancient void dragon looked for him. No matter what, he was still a primal chaos reincarnation martial artist. In the ancient void dragon's eyes, even if he could cause space to collapse, he would not be a threat to him. Thinking of this, Longao sneered. Without any hesitation, according to the specific location given by the ancient void dragon, Longao immediately locked onto the lair of the ancient demonic tiger. It was an incomparably huge cave. Above him was the open sky. Traces of sunlight refracted in, causing the entire cave to not seem so gloomy. Until now, the ancient void dragon had not said what it wanted him to obtain. However, intuition told Longao that since the ancient void dragon and the ancient demonic tiger were so interested in this thing, it seemed that this thing was not simple. Stepping into the cave, Longao did not waste any time. The current situation was very unfavorable for him. Once his whereabouts were discovered, not only would he be chased by the ancient demonic tiger, even the ancient void dragon would deal with him. Therefore, the longer he delayed, the more unfavorable it would be for him. He had to settle this matter as soon as possible. He immediately released his primordial spirit and covered the entire cave. Longao's expression became more and more serious because his primordial spirit had already covered 99% of the area. There was only one place that it could not cover. Without a doubt, this place that even his primordial spirit could not cover was definitely the place he was looking for. Taking a step, he instantly arrived at the place that his primordial spirit could not cover. On a stone wall there was a bare stone wall. However, Longao had already sensed that there was a very powerful sealing force on this stone wall. The more it was so, the more certain Longao was that the place he and the ancient void dragon were looking for was on this stone wall. Chapter 33:26. He looked coldly at the seal on the stone wall. Longao also wanted to know what was inside the seal. Since the ancient void dragon and ancient demon tiger valued this item so much, he knew what it meant. God's slaying finger, the most powerful attack, hit the stone wall. The result? There was no reaction. The seal on the stone wall did not budge at all. With a face of shock, Longao was very confident in the power of his God's slaying finger, but he never thought that he would still be unable to break the seal. What was going on? Ao use your reincarnation transcendence? He nodded. Longao did not doubt Xianyuan Bubi's words at all. He gave up on the God's slaying finger and used reincarnation transcendence. The terrifying reincarnation power hit the seal on the stone wall. Boom. There was a loud sound. Outside the cave, the dragon roared and the tiger roared. The ancient demon tiger that was fighting seemed to have sensed something and roared, "Ancient void dragon, you shameless thing, you actually allied with the humans and came here?" However, before the primordial demon tiger could finish speaking, it was already attacked by the primordial void dragon. The ancient void dragon was pleasantly surprised. For so many years, he had always wanted to obtain that item, but it was not enough to rely on his strength alone. If it was any other human martial artist, the ancient void dragon would not believe it at all. Just as Longao had guessed, the ancient void dragon was afraid that he could not control what would happen next. But facing a chaotic reincarnation martial artist, even if the other party could cause space to collapse, he would not care at all and would not put the other party in his eyes. The difference between a chaotic reincarnation martial artist and a half-step Tao validation martial artist was huge. Others did not know, but as a half-step Tao validation martial artist, how could he not know? Because of this, the ancient void dragon naturally hoped that Longao would obtain that item. In that case, the item that Longao obtained would be his without a doubt. Because of the ancient void dragon, even if it knew that someone had entered the cave, the ancient demon tiger could not do anything. Could only deal with the ancient void dragon first. Inside the cave, just as Xianyuan Bubi said, Longao borrowed the power of reincarnation to attack the seal on the stone wall. After a loud explosion, the seal broke. Feeling the terrifying power behind the seal, Longao was shocked. What was that? There was a small black hole, and there was an egg inside. That's right, it was a huge egg. It was completely black and yellow, and it emitted a terrifying aura. Master, what is this? Judging from the aura released by this egg, if nothing unexpected happens, the parents of this egg should be divine beasts that have proven their Tao. Huh? Although he had already guessed it, Longao was still shocked. He never thought that the thing that the primordial void dragon wanted was an egg, and an egg with such a terrifying origin. Without a doubt, if the parents were divine beasts, then once the egg was born, the little thing inside would most likely be a divine beast. What kind of concept was that? Gently taking out the egg from the small black hole, Longao did not dare to hesitate and put the egg into his interspatial ring. Unable to communicate with his chaotic Dantian, he could only rely on the interspatial ring for the time being. Fortunately, Longao did not throw the interspatial ring away. It was a memento. After successfully obtaining the beast egg, Longao did not continue to stay. As soon as he left the cave, he saw a dragon and a tiger fighting wildly in the 9 heavens. The roar of the dragon and the tiger resounded throughout the 9 heavens. The battle between two divine beasts that were half a step away from divine beasts was terrifying. Quickly give me the egg. The immemorial void dragon was paying attention to the entrance of the cave at all times. The moment Longao appeared, he was already discovered. He was very surprised. The egg that he had not obtained for so many years was finally going to fall into his hands. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. But what was the result? Longao snorted and said with a sneer, "Why should I give you what I obtained? You're really shameless." Obviously, the immemorial void dragon was dumbfounded. But soon after, the immemorial void dragon was completely enraged. He never thought that a puny primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist would dare to play trick. He avoided the immemorial demon tiger and rushed towards Longao. However, before the primordial void dragon could leave, the terrifying attack of the primordial demon tiger had already arrived. In the eyes of the primordial demon tiger, human ancient martial art practitioners were not worth mentioning. As long as it could kill the primordial void dragon, then dealing with human ancient martial art practitioners would be a piece of cake. If the ancient void dragon killed this person and successfully obtained the egg, then it would be very difficult for him to take the egg back from the ancient void dragon. Because of this, the ancient demon tiger did not even think about it and directly attacked to stop the ancient void dragon. Longao did not leave just like that, because he knew clearly that if he left, not only the ancient void dragon, but even the ancient demon tiger would attack him. Thinking about it, if two half-step Tao verification legendary beasts were to attack him together, it would be difficult for him to leave this place. Such a situation could be said to be very disadvantageous for him. Thankfully, both half-step Tao verification legendary beasts had their own plans and did not take him seriously. If that was the case, he could just watch from the sidelines. If he was lucky, he could be the oriole behind the mantis stalking the cicada. The battle between the ancient void dragon and the ancient demon tiger escalated continuously. The dragon roared and the tiger roared. These two half-step Tao verification legendary beasts were clearly giving it their all. Other than their own hatred, it was also because of the egg. Both half-step Tao verification legendary beasts knew that if they could not take care of the other party, it would be difficult for them to take back the egg. As for Longao, whether it was the primordial void dragon or the primordial devil tiger, they did not put him in their eyes. In the eyes of the two divine beasts, as long as the two of them could determine the winner, then it would be very easy to deal with a small human martial artist. Boom, boom, boom. The continuous frenzied collisions caused these two half-step Tao verification legendary beasts to be severely injured. Even so, these two half-step Dao verification legendary beasts were not willing to stop just like that, and continued to collide with each other. The more intense the battle between these two half-step Dao verification legendary beasts, the more excited Longao was. If the ancient void dragon and the ancient demon tiger were to fall just like that, then it would be too easy for him. After all, to be able to obtain the essence spirits and powers of these two half-step Dao verification legendary beasts was a pretty good thing. Ancient void dragon, I'm going to tear you apart alive today. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Just you? What an idiot. Today, I want to see which one of us can leave this place alive. Chapter 33:27. In order to kill the other party as soon as possible, these two mythical beasts, who were half a step away from proving their Tao, had no qualms about using their essence spirit attack. The biggest taboo for essence spirit attacks was for martial artists of the same cultivation level. It was an unlimited amount of energy. Under normal circumstances, only martial artists of a higher cultivation level would use essence spirit attacks against martial artists of a lower cultivation level. Either that or they had essence spirit skills. But now? It was clear that neither the primordial void dragon nor the primordial demon tiger knew any essence spirit skills. Both of them were in a killing frenzy. As long as they could kill the other party, everything would be worth it. Boom, boom, boom. The essence spirits clashed, and both parties were equally matched. After clashing for a full hour, the two mythical beasts, who were half a step away from proving their Tao, collapsed completely and fell down from the 9 heavens. Here's my chance. Looking at the two behemoths that were falling down from the heavens, Longao was pleasantly surprised to the max. Seemed like his luck was pretty good indeed. He did not even need to do anything, and had already waited for the two mythical beasts, who were half a step away from proving their Tao, to be injured. To him, this was the best thing that could have happened. He did not even have to put in any effort to find an opportunity. Longao, if you dare to strike at us, we'll tear you into pieces. The two mythical beasts, who were half a step away from proving their Tao, had not expected this outcome. They were already in a killing frenzy, and did not even think about the consequences. Looking at the human who was walking towards them, both of them were filled with regret. But it was too late for regrets. Right now, the two mythical beasts, who were half a step away from proving their Tao, were severely injured. Not to mention a chaos reincarnation martial artist, even any random chaos martial artist would be able to kill them easily. If one were to say that they were not afraid, they would be lying. Primordial Void Dragon, are you threatening me? Initially, the Primordial Void Dragon wanted to say something, but looking at the cold killing intent in the other party's eyes, he swallowed it down. That was because he knew that the other party was filled with killing intent. The Primordial Demon Tiger looked at the Primordial Void Dragon coldly. He did not hate this human. In his opinion, if the Primordial Void Dragon were not so greedy, he would not have fallen to such a state. I'm sorry, but I need your essence spirits and powers. Once he devoured them, they would be of great help to his cultivation base. Longao was very depressed. If he could communicate with his chaotic Dantian and summon the 10 chaos divine beasts, he would let Blackie and the others devour the primordial spirits and power of the two half-step Tao validation divine beasts. He believed that the primordial spirits and power of two half-step Tao validation divine beasts would be of great benefit to Blackie and the others. There was no other way. The situation did not permit it. In that case, Longao had already thought about it. He could not let it go to waste. If he devoured the essence spirits and power of two half-step Tao-confirming divine beasts, he believed that it would be very helpful for his cultivation. How dare you? Why wouldn't I dare? What a joke. Longao's expression was ice-cold. Not to mention the two half-step Tao-confirming god beasts, Even if they were at their peak, he wouldn't be afraid. Longao stared at the immemorial void dragon with a cold smile. Just as he was about to devour the immemorial void dragon, waves of energy came from the interspatial ring. Very curious, Longao did not know what was going on, but he still took the egg out. Looking at the egg in the other party's hand, whether it was the immemorial void dragon or the immemorial demon tiger, their eyes erupted with endless greed. In particular, the immemorial demon tiger was very depressed. It had obtained the egg for so many years, but it had never been able to hatch it. Otherwise, how could it have fallen to such a state? Immemorial demon tiger, I want to know the origin of this egg. If it was before, the immemorial demon tiger would not have paid attention to Longao at all, nor would it pay attention to him. But now, the situation was different. The immemorial demon tiger seemed to know that it was impossible for it to make a comeback, so it said coldly, "The egg in your hand, I obtained it by accident." Longao did not speak and just listened quietly. The origin of this egg is not simple. Not only are its parents divine beasts, even its grandparents are divine beasts. Moreover, this egg is a mutated divine beast. Once it hatches and matures, it will be hard to imagine who will be its match in the divine beast world. In the future, it will be the ruler of the divine beast world. The immemorial demon tiger was helpless. It seemed that it was useless to obtain something that did not belong to it. It originally wanted to devour the little thing that hatched to increase its strength, but it did not expect that after so many years, the little thing would not hatch at all. Destroy the egg? The immemorial demon tiger was definitely unwilling. The child of the four divine beasts, it was obvious what it meant, but it did not expect that it would end up being taken advantage of by a human martial artist. No matter how unwilling it was, it could only face reality. On the other hand, the immemorial void dragon's face was filled with anger, but under such circumstances, it did not say much. It only tried its best to recover from its injuries, hoping for a miracle. Longao was also completely shocked. Of course, he knew what the primordial devil tiger meant. His grandparents and parents were all primordial soul realm cultivators, and this egg itself was a mutated divine beast. Once this little guy was born, and even grew up, he knew what it meant. For some reason, Longao always felt that he had some kind of connection with this little thing. He could not explain it clearly. Naturally, he dripped his blood essence onto the egg. Seeing that the blood essence had completely fused into the egg, the immemorial demon tiger and the immemorial void dragon were completely dumbfounded. The two divine beasts naturally knew what it meant to fuse their blood essence into the egg, especially the immemorial demon tiger. It had tried countless times before, but it had never succeeded. It never thought that a little human would succeed so easily. What was going on? Even Longao was a little dumbfounded. However, before he could react, a message came to his mind. He wanted to devour the divine beast's primordial spirit and power. Longao was very clear that the message that appeared in his mind must have come from the egg in his hand. Suppressing the curiosity in his heart, Longao laughed and said, "I'm sorry, I don't have time to waste here with you two." Regardless of the immemorial void dragon's insults and anger, Longao directly killed two divine beasts at the half-step divine beast realm with one palm each. It could be said that in a normal battle, Longao might not be able to win even in a one-on-one situation, let alone one against two. It was just that when the sandpiper and the clam fought, the fisherman would benefit. Longao could be considered to have picked up a big bargain. Longao had just killed two divine beasts at the half-step divine beast realm when the egg in his hand released two terrifying auras that directly shrouded the two divine beasts' bodies. It began to devour crazily. Not only did it devour their primordial spirit, it even devoured their blood essence. P.S. Chapter 10 delivered. Chapter 33:28. The little guy's devouring speed was very fast. Longao was very suspicious. Would the little guy's crazy devouring cause a backlash? But then he thought about it and shook his head with a smile. His grandparents and parents were all divine beasts, and the little guy was a mutant divine beast. Thinking about it, he knew what it meant. The two half-step divine beasts had just been devoured. Longao heard kacha, kacha, kacha sounds. His face suddenly lit up. Of course, he knew that the little guy was about to be born. At this moment, Longao couldn't wait to see what kind of mutant divine beast the little guy was. Along with the sound of cracking, cracking. Not long after, the whole egg shell fell off. Looking at the little guy inside, Longao was completely dumbfounded. What kind of divine beast is this? The divine beast in front of Longao was about a quarter of a person's height. It was like a ball, covered with soft hair, very smooth. Longao had never seen this kind of divine beast, but he believed that no one knew it. After all, the little guy was a mutant divine beast, which could be said to be the only existence in the Chaos realm. Every mutant divine beast was a unique existence. You look like a little pig. The divine beast in front of him looked like a little pig, and it looked very cute. Gently holding the little guy in his arms, Longao said with a smile, "Little guy, you're a mutant divine beast. What should I call you in the future?" Longao loved the little guy in his arms very much. He didn't know if it was because the little guy had fused with his blood essence, but he and the little guy seemed to have a blood connection. "I don't know what kind of divine beast I am. Boss, why don't you give me a name?" Longao smiled and said, "Anyway, you look like a little pig. Why don't you call you little pig from now on?" The little guy seemed to be very satisfied. It nodded and said with a smile, "No problem, boss. What's your strength now?" Longao was very surprised because he found that he couldn't sense the other party's true strength at all. However, as a mutant divine beast, the little guy's grandparents and parents were all divine beasts, so it was probably not simple. It should be half-step Tao validation. As expected, Longao had actually already guessed it. After all, it was almost impossible for a newly born divine beast to be a Tao corroboration divine beast. Even so, the little guy had just been born and was already able to reach the half-step Tao confirmation divine beast realm. This was already heaven-defying enough. There was almost no need to ask. As long as the little pig grew up, it would definitely become a Tao confirmation divine beast in the future. "Boss, I need to devour an enormous amount of primordial spirit and blood essence." He nodded. Of course, Longao knew what piglet meant. However, it was a little difficult to devour such a huge amount of primordial spirit and blood essence. Ordinary martial artists and divine beasts didn't mean much. With his current strength, he was still unable to contend against a half-step Tao validation martial artist. After successfully devouring the primordial spirits and blood essence of two half-step Tao validation divine beasts, Longao didn't continue to stay. He still didn't know much about the so-called Netherworld. It was an urgent matter. He just had to think of a way to understand the situation in the Nether realm. His cultivation base had successfully broken through to the chaotic reincarnation realm. The next thing he needed to do was break through to the half-step Tao validation realm. From there, he would truly validate his Tao and condense his Tao validation seed. It was easy to think about, but difficult to actually do. If he wanted to break through to the half-step Tao validation realm from the chaotic reincarnation realm, he must comprehend the Chaos Tao. If he wanted to break through to the Tao validation realm, he must condense the Chaos Seed. Passing through the dense forest. After about 10 days, Longao finally saw a town. Looking from afar, the entire town was huge. It was like a huge black vortex that released a huge amount of power. Longao knew very well that the reason why the huge town could release such an aura was very simple. It meant that there were many powerhouses in the town. After entering the town, Longao asked around and finally understood the situation in the Nether Realm. The Nether Realm was an independent space that was independent of the Chaos Realm. As for how the Nether Realm was formed, no one knew. Moreover, there was a taboo in the Nether Realm. People from the outside could enter, but it was impossible for people from the Nether Realm to leave. Otherwise, many people would have stepped into the Nether Realm, but very few people could leave. The Nether Realm had a total of 5 realms. They were the Eastern Realm, Western Realm, Southern Realm, Northern Realm, and Central Realm. Thunder City, where he was a town in the Eastern Realm. In Thunder City, there were 3 major families, namely the Lu family, the Bai family, and the Shao family. These 3 families dominated Thunder City, and no one dared to provoke them. Not only that, but the overall strength of the entire Nether Realm was very strong. Chaos Realm cultivators could be seen everywhere. There were even many half-step Dao validation cultivators here. Longao could be considered to have truly witnessed the strength of the Nether Realm. Looking at the 99 heavens of the Chaos Realm, there was no heavens that could compete with the Nether Realm. Anyway, he rarely saw the so-called half-step Dao validation cultivators outside. However, Longao felt relieved after thinking about it. After all, there were many half-step Dao validation cultivators who had entered the Nether Realm from the outside. It was hard to imagine that if the entrance to the Nether Realm was completely opened, everyone in the Nether Realm would pour into the Chaos Realm. At that time, it would bring a huge impact to the Chaos Realm. Just thinking about it made him feel scared. However, the seal at the entrance to the Nether Realm was too strong. Even a half-step Dao validation cultivator couldn't break the seal and leave. If it was possible, Mo-ing and the others would have left long ago. However, Longao was looking forward to the Nether Realm. His cultivation had already smoothly broken through to the Chaos Reincarnation Realm. Under such circumstances, his cultivation might be able to break through to the half-step Dao validation realm as soon as possible. Once he became a half-step Dao validation cultivator, he would find a way to leave the Nether Realm. When he returned to the Chaos Realm, not only would he be able to kill Xie Yu and the others, he wouldn't even be afraid of facing Gu Hao. It was still the same sentence. The most important thing was to think of all ways to smoothly break through to the half-step Dao validation cultivator from the Chaos Reincarnation Realm as soon as possible. In addition to this, Longao also received a piece of news, which was also the most shocking news. According to what he had heard, each of the 5 realms of the Nether Realm had a Realm Lord, and each Realm Lord was a Dao validation cultivator. What kind of concept was this? If the 5 realms were added together, then there would be a total of 5 Realm Lords. It could also be said that the 5 Realm Lords were the most powerful existences in the entire Nether Realm. Longao had only been in Thunder City for a few hours, but he had already caused a huge amount of trouble. This was something that Longao had never expected. Kill this pig for me. How dare he steal this young master's things? Chapter 33-29. The figure of Piglet sprinted over swiftly. In the next second, he was already in the embrace of Longao. He was curious. Piglet was holding a stone in his mouth. It was entirely black in color, and looked no different from any other normal stone. What was going on? Piglet, what's going on? Boss, I forgot to tell you. I have a mystic skill that can lock onto treasures. This stone contains a tremendous amount of energy that will be of great help to both you and me. Lin Fan's heart skipped a beat. A mystic skill, as such, was truly heaven-defying. Lad, let go of that pig. At this moment, dozens of figures sped over and arrived in the blink of an eye. All of them were chaos congregations. The only exception was the young man at the front who was only a Chaos Dao enlightened martial artist. His head was oily and his face was filled with arrogance. It was as though he did not care about anyone at all. So, this pig is yours. Not bad, lad. This pig had snatched something from me earlier on. Before the young man could finish his words, Longao interrupted him and asked coldly, "What proof do you have?" Proof? Did he need proof for his words? Hearing the words of the other party, the dozens of people burst out laughing maniacally as though they had just heard the funniest joke in the world. Their laughter was filled with mockery and disdain. Ha! Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! It wasn't just the dozens of people. Everyone in the surroundings burst out laughing maniacally as well. After all, with their statuses, how many people in the entire Thunder City would dare to offend them? Longao's aura was retracted. In the eyes of outsiders, the current Longao was no longer a chaos reincarnation martial artist. He was a Tao enlightened martial artist. Lad, are you tired of living? Does our Bai family's young master Bai Qing need proof for his words? Are you out of your mind or something? Lad, let me give you a piece of advice. You had better hand over that pig and kneel down before our young master to admit your mistakes. Otherwise, all of them laughed coldly. Bai Qing was the young master of the Bai family, one of the three great families of Thunder City. He was used to being tyrannical and domineering in Thunder City. Unless it was the young masters of the other two great families, Bai Qing would not give a damn about anyone else. Bai Qing basically knew all the experts in Thunder City, and many people knew him as well. Since the other party did not recognize him, it could only mean that the other party was not from Thunder City. Things would be much easier now. Even if he killed the other party, he believed that no one would dare to say anything. Young Master Bai? Kid, are you scared? Ha ha, as long as you kneel down, admit your mistake, and call me Grandpa 3 times, we'll spare you. Longao smiled. Since Little Pig had such a spirit technique, then there was no doubt that the stone in Little Pig's mouth was no small matter. However, Longao was very curious as to why Little Pig, a half-step Tao-confirming divine beast, would be chased by these people. However, this was not the time to ask. Get lost! Hearing this, an uproar broke out. No one had expected this man to be so arrogant. The other party had already revealed his identity, yet he still dared to act like this. He was simply courting death. Even if he wanted to commit suicide, he couldn't do that. Ha ha ha, kid, I really admire your courage. However, it doesn't matter. Since you dared to provoke me, I'll let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. Attack. The dozens of people behind Bai Qing were all chaotic convergence cultivators. They walked out with a sneer and looked at the man in front of them as if they were looking at a dead man. In Thunder City, many experts did not dare to provoke Bai Qing. It was not because they were afraid of Bai Qing, nor was it because they were afraid of Bai Qing's henchmen. Most importantly, the Bai family behind Bai Qing was one of the 3 major families in Thunder City. Just the background and strength of the Bai family alone was not something that ordinary people could provoke. Not to mention the ordinary chaotic martial artists, even chaotic reincarnation martial artists would not dare to provoke the Bai family casually. The dozens of people did not continue to talk nonsense. They often killed people casually, and it was not the first or second time. There was nothing special about it. However, this time, the dozens of people had just attacked, and before they could even react, the figure in front of them was like a flash of lightning. At the same time, miserable screams were heard, and the dozens of people were all dead. Not even their bones were left behind, and they disappeared without a trace. Everyone was completely stunned, including Bai Qing. No one had thought that the other party would really dare to attack and kill the dozens of people. The dozens of people were nothing, but the Bai family behind them was a colossus that could not be provoked. They're dead. They deserve to die. How dare they provoke the Bai family? Longao ignored the discussions and ridicule around him. He looked at the other party with a sneer and said, "Scram. Don't let me see you again. Otherwise, you'll end up like them. Looking at the disappearing crowd, it would be a lie if he said that he was not afraid. Bai Qing did not want to stay, but when he heard the other party's words and thought of the family behind him, he suddenly became confident again. He sneered and said, "Kid, I don't care who you are. How dare you provoke my Bai family? If you want to leave Thunder City, I hope." Before Bai Qing could finish his words, a ray of light flashed in front of him. Then, before Bai Qing could react, he was sent flying with a slap. Before he landed on the ground, another wave of pain came from his stomach. Not only did he give him a slap, Longao even stepped on Bai Qing under his feet. He looked at the young man under his feet coldly and said, "I, Longao, hate it when people threaten me. Looks like you're tired of living." Many people around took a deep breath, and each of them looked at the scene in a daze. They had seen crazy people, but they had never seen such an arrogant person. In Thunder City, under the eyes of the Bai family, he actually dared to teach the young master of the Bai family a lesson. Many people started to admire Longao. After all, killing people and humiliating the young master were two different things. They could not be compared. "You dare to hit me?" Bai Qing was completely dumbfounded. Since he was young, no one had ever dared to treat him like this, not even chaos reincarnation experts. After all, he had the backing of the Bai family. In Bai Qing's opinion, as long as he did not leave Thunder City, no matter how arrogant he was, no one would dare to touch him. But now, a puny chaos expert, who was obviously not a person of Thunder City, actually dared to attack him. He was simply tired of living. If it was any other place, it would be fine. However, this was Thunder City, the headquarters of the Bai family. He could not afford to lose face here, and he believed that his family could not afford to lose face here. "Hit you!" Just as Longao was about to kill the other party, a terrifying figure appeared. Just by sensing a little, Longao already knew that the other party was a chaos samsara expert. Chapter 33:30. Third Uncle, Save Me. The newcomer was a middle-aged man, exuding a powerful aura and arrogance. This person was Bai Qing's third uncle and one of the heads of the Bai family, Bai Hong. Bai Hong never thought that there would be someone in Thunder City who dared to provoke their Bai family. Did the other party have something to rely on? It was a nonsensical thing. The other party was obviously not from Thunder City. If it was any other place, it would be fine, but this was Thunder City. Not to mention ordinary people, even the other two families would not dare to do so. "Who are you?" "Who I am has nothing to do with you." As soon as these words came out, there was another uproar. It seemed that this person was deliberately looking for trouble, and did not put the Bai family in his eyes at all. Bai Qing was not a big deal. The other party did not even put Bai Hong in his eyes. If he did not see it with his own eyes, it would be hard to believe. Bai Hong also did not expect the other party to say this. Instead of being angry, he laughed and said, "Your Excellency is really arrogant. I want to know what capital you have." Even a half-step Dao validation martial artist would not dare to casually provoke the Bai family. No matter what. The Bai family was not as simple as having a half-step Dao validation martial artist. The other party was obviously not a half-step Dao validation martial artist, and was not even a chaotic life and death martial artist. Did the other party have a screw loose or wanted to commit suicide? You want to know? Under the shocked eyes of the crowd, Longao stepped on Bai Qing's back and began to exert force. Screams of agony rang out one after another, resounding in all directions and spreading through the 9 heavens. "You're courting death." Crack. Bai Hong had just finished speaking when Longao directly stepped on Bai Qing's head. A cloud of blood mist appeared, and Bai Qing died without even a chance to speak for help. Until now, no one had reacted to the situation. Bai Hong was even more dumbfounded. For so many years, this kind of thing had never happened. What was the other party's origin to be so tough and arrogant? However, things had already happened. If he were to sit back and do nothing about it, not to mention how he would explain it to his family, just the face alone would be completely lost. Whether it was him or the Bai family, they really couldn't afford to lose face like this. Boy, do you know who I am? No. Looks like you're deliberately looking for trouble. Longao said indifferently, I'm not that bored. It's just that the people of your Bai family wanted to kill my divine beast without any reason. If it were you, what would you do? Bai Hong did not care about this. She sneered and said, It seems that you will not be able to leave Thunder City alive today. Really? I don't believe it. Hearing the other party's words, not only Bai Hong, but the others around them also laughed. There was no need to mention the Bai clan's strength in Thunder City. With a single order, even a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist would have to die here. Originally, White Rainbow had wanted to wait for her family's reinforcements. However, things had already come to this. She could only watch as her nephew was killed. If she did not take action immediately, the consequences would be unimaginable. However, before Bai Hong could take action, Longao made the first move. Originally, Bai Hong had not regarded Longao as a threat. After all, Longao had concealed his aura and outsiders were incapable of detecting it. But what was the result? Sensing the terrifying aura released by the other party, Bai Hong was stunned. She said in horror, So you're a reincarnation realm martial artist. Reincarnation realm martial artists were already super experts. Only half-step Dao validation realm martial artists could suppress them. At this moment, Bai Hong finally understood why the other party was so arrogant. She fiercely cursed Bai Cheng in her heart for provoking a primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist. Regardless of whether the Bai clan could suppress the other party, there was no doubt that she was not the other party's opponent. Sir, I think this is a misunderstanding. Please stop. Hearing Bai Hong take the initiative to beg for mercy, everyone was completely stunned. However, after thinking about it, they felt relieved. After all, the other party was a genuine primal chaos reincarnation realm martial artist. Bai Hong was only a primal chaos life and death realm martial artist. How could she contend against the other party? It was completely nonsense. Bai Hong had already chosen to compromise, just when everyone thought that the other party would definitely choose to give up. Too late. In front of everyone's shocked eyes, Longao used his finger as a sword. Sword Chi madly attacked, the power of samsara fiercely suppressing the other party. The gap between the primal chaos life and death realm and the primal chaos reincarnation realm was huge. It was simply an insurmountable gap. After all, not everyone was like Longao, able to kill enemies above their level. Boom. Without a doubt, when Longao attacked, Bai Hong could not even resist 2 moves and was directly killed. Looking at the corpse on the ground, everyone was completely dumbfounded. Their faces were filled with shock and disbelief. Longao did not continue to stay. Although the Bai clan was one of the 3 great clans of Thunder City, his cultivation had already smoothly broken through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. There was no need to shrink back. Longao did not leave Thunder City. He was very clear that the Bai clan would not let the matter rest after he had killed the 2 men. If he chose to leave at this time, he would be asking for trouble. The most important thing was that he had to quickly find out what the stone that Piglet had brought back was. In a very remote inn, inside a room. Piglet, you are a half-step Dao confirming divine beast. Why are you being chased by a few assembled experts? Until now, Longao still couldn't figure it out. It was simply nonsense. He felt that it was impossible. After all, whether it was a Dao comprehending martial artist or a gathering martial artist, they were like ants in front of a half-step Dao confirming divine beast. But what was the result? Piglet was actually being chased. If he had not arrived in time, who knew what would have happened? The more he thought about it, the more scared he became. Piglet also had a helpless expression and said, "Boss, there is something you don't know. I don't know if it is because of the mutation. Although I have mastered many divine abilities and my cultivation has also reached the half-step Tao confirming realm, I am temporarily unable to take action." Why? It turned out that Piglet deliberately did not take action. However, Longao became more and more curious. He did not know what Piglet meant and why he could not take action for no reason. "Boss, I can't explain it for the time being. Once I am done, I will naturally tell you." Seeing that Piglet was unwilling to say more, Longao did not continue to ask. Instead, he said, "The stone you just obtained, what kind of power does it contain?" Longao was really shocked by Piglet's divine ability. It could actually lock the position of a treasure. It seemed that this stone was not simple. Otherwise, Piglet would not have gone through so much trouble. "Boss, sealed in this stone is the primordial spirit of a half-step Tao vindication martial artist. P.S. 3 chapters first." Chapter 33-31. He was startled. Longao, of course, knew what Piglet meant. Staring at the stone in his hand, Longao never thought that a half-step Tao validation martial artist's primordial spirit would be sealed in the stone. "You want to devour it?" "Yes, but..." Before Piglet finished speaking, Longao already knew what Piglet meant. He immediately helped Piglet devour the primordial spirit in the stone. Longao did not care about the origin of the primordial spirit in the stone. Since it had fallen into his hands, he would let Piglet devour it first. According to Piglet, as long as he could continuously devour primordial spirit and blood essence, he would quickly break through to become a Tao validation divine beast without any bottleneck. This kind of talent was really abnormal. Just as Longao was helping Piglet devour the primordial spirit in the stone. The news of Bai Hong and Bai Cheng's death had spread throughout Thunder City. The entire Thunder City was shaken. As one of the three great families in Thunder City, the Bai family's foundation and strength were needless to say. Not only that, the Bai family even had several half-step Tao validation martial artists. Under normal circumstances, no one dared to provoke the Bai family. Even the other two great families did not dare to do so. Killing Bai Hong and Bai Cheng was not just a simple provocation to the Bai family, it was completely not putting them in his eyes. The Bai family's anger could be imagined. They immediately joined forces with the other two great families to seal off Thunder City and sent experts to kill this person. According to the information they received, this person was a primal chaos reincarnation martial artist. If they wanted to kill him, they would have to send a reincarnation martial artist at the very least. The Xiao family and Lu family did not want to interfere in this matter, and had no obligation to do so. Cooperating with the Bai family to seal off Thunder City was already a very good thing. The Bai family was also very clear about this matter, so it was better to rely on oneself than others. They directly sent out a total of 10 primal chaos reincarnation martial artists and conducted a carpet search in Thunder City, vowing to find this person. The Bai family was completely enraged. For so many years, no one had ever dared to provoke the Bai family like this. It was simply not putting them in his eyes. If this could be tolerated, what could be tolerated? With regards to the Bai family's anger, everyone in Thunder City felt insecure. Who knew if they would be implicated? However, although the Bai family was furious, they did not implicate others. Although the Bai clan was one of the three great clans of Thunder City, there would always be someone stronger. No one knew if they would provoke some powerful existences, such as a half-step Tao validation martial artist. Although the Bai family wasn't afraid of half-step Tao validation martial artists, They weren't willing to make a move unless they had no other choice. The destructive power of a half-step Dao vindication martial artist was extremely terrifying. In particular, if a half-step Dao validation cultivator did not confront them head-on, but instead launched sneak attacks and assassinations in the dark, even the Bai family would find it difficult to guard against them. As Piglet devoured the primordial spirit within the stone, Longao also began to observe the situation in Thunder City. As expected, looks like the blow to the Bai clan for me killing Bai Qing and Bai Hong was really not small. The 10 Primal Chaos Reincarnation Realm martial artists were led by Bai Hong's elder brother, Bai Cheng's father, Bai Ming. Bai Qing would not let anyone who dared to kill his son and his brother off, regardless of their background. Thunder City was huge, and finding the culprit in a short time was not an easy task. Bai Ming's face was gloomy and as ugly as it could get. After 3 days, they still couldn't find the culprit. For him and his clan, it was simply a great humiliation. If he didn't take revenge, how could he establish himself in Thunder City in the future? How's the investigation going? Master, the culprit should have guessed that the clan would send experts to kill him, so he went into hiding. However, the only thing we can be sure of is that the culprit is still in Thunder City. Bai Ming nodded. Of course, Bai Ming knew that the culprit was definitely still in Thunder City and couldn't have left. It was precisely because of this that he was so confident in finding the culprit. Find him. No matter what price we have to pay, we have to find him for me. Master, it's not easy to find the culprit with just the strength of our Bai clan. If we can get the help of the Shao clan and the Lu clan, I believe this matter will be much easier. The Shao clan? The Lu clan? Bai Ming felt helpless. Although the 3 major clans of Thunder City seemed to be very harmonious on the surface, they were secretly fighting in the dark. They couldn't wait for the other clans to be completely destroyed so that they could dominate Thunder City. Waving his hand, Bai Ming said angrily, "Continue the investigation. Remember, you have to find the culprit." Yes. Just as Bai Ming had guessed, the Shao clan and the Lu clan were just watching a good show. No one was willing to intervene in this matter unless they were crazy. If someone wanted to find trouble with the Bai clan, they would be more than happy to do so. Why would they intervene? It was completely nonsense. Thunder City's territory was very large, so it was not easy for the Bai family to lock onto a single person's trail. Not to mention, Thunder City was a place where powerhouses were as common as cloud. The Bai family did not dare to search wantonly. Who knew if they would provoke a half-step Dao validation cultivator? Not far away from Thunder City, a figure slowly walked over. His face was very pale, but the aura on his body was very strong. This person was none other than the injured Mo Ying. After being severely injured by Longao, Mo Ying was very angry. However, there was no other way. The most important thing now was to recover from his injuries, then find Longao and tear him to pieces. After entering Thunder City, Mo Ying heard that someone had provoked the Bai clan. He had been in Thunder City for many years. Of course, he knew the background and strength of the Bai clan. Not to mention an ordinary chaotic martial artist, even a half-step Dao validation expert wouldn't dare to casually provoke the Bai clan. After all, there was only one half-step Dao validation expert in the Bai clan. Even he didn't dare to provoke the Bai clan. Mo Ying didn't care about the Bai clan at all. This time, he entered Thunder City to buy elixirs to recover from his injuries as soon as possible. But what was the result? When Mo Ying learned that the person who had provoked the Bai clan was none other than Longao, he was completely shocked. He never thought that a person who had just entered the Nether Realm and wasn't even a half-step Dao validation expert would dare to provoke the Bai clan of Thunder City. It seemed that this person was really arrogant. However, he took advantage of this opportunity to destroy Longao in one fell swoop. He was very greedy for the axe in Longao's hand. After all, it was a chaotic divine tool that could collapse space. He knew what it meant. As long as he obtained this chaotic divine tool, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. He would be invincible among the same level of martial artists. No half-step Tao validation expert would be able to compete with him. Chapter 33-32. Longao did not know that Emoing had entered Thunder City. However, he knew that the Bai family had sealed off Thunder City and had begun a thorough search. He sneered. Although his cultivation had only reached the chaotic reincarnation realm, it would not be easy for a half-step Tao validation martial artist to keep him here. Regarding this point, Longao was still very confident. Looking at the man swaggering down the street, everyone who knew of this matter turned pale with fright. Their faces were filled with disbelief. What was going on? Did he not know that the Bai family was targeting him? He must be out of his mind, or he was a lunatic who was not afraid of death. There was no need to talk about the Bai family's foundation and strength. If the other party was a half-step Tao validation martial artist, then so be it. But what was the result? Many people already knew that Longao was only a chaotic reincarnation realm martial artist and not a half-step Tao validation martial artist. In that case, how could he fight against the Bai family? It was simply nonsense. Soon, Bai Ming and the others already knew that Longao had deliberately appeared. This was a complete provocation, a blatant provocation. With endless anger, Bai Ming led a total of 10 chaotic reincarnation realm martial artists and rushed over. Your Longao? As expected. Sensing the aura released from the other party, Bai Ming knew that the other party was definitely a chaotic reincarnation realm martial artist and had just broken through. He and the other 10 martialists from the samsara of chaos could easily destroy the other party, let alone join forces. Even if 2 of them appeared casually, they could easily destroy the other party. What does it have to do with you whether I'm Longao or not? Arrogant. Looking coldly at the young man in front of him, Bai Ming's face was gloomy and as ugly as it could be. His body released a terrifying murderous aura. His son and brother had been killed by the person in front of him. If he did not take revenge, how could he be satisfied? Do you know that a life for a life? Ha ha ha, if I uproot the Bai family, I don't know if I still have to pay with my life. Bai Ming and the others had obviously never imagined that she would actually be arrogant to such an extent. He wanted to uproot the Bai clan. Could a tiny chaotic reincarnation cultivator accomplish this? He didn't believe it. The 10 people behind him didn't believe it either. No one here would believe it. Do you think you can do it? Regarding Bai Ming's meaning, how could Longao not know? Not wanting to waste any more time, Longao took a big stride forward and arrived before the crowd in the blink of an eye. The god-slaying finger used the finger as a sword. Sword chi swept out, directly shattering the space, causing it to collapse. It brought with it traces of black fog, appearing very terrifying and strange. Everyone, including Bai Ming, was shocked when they saw that the other party was able to cause the space to collapse. Could it be that the other party was a Tao-confirming martial artist? Absolutely impossible. However, the other party was not a Tao validation realm cultivator, so how could he cause space to collapse? After all, everyone knew that only Tao validation realm cultivators could do this. Now, a puny primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivator, who had just broken through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm, could cause space to collapse. If they hadn't experienced it themselves, they wouldn't have believed it even if they were beaten to death. Even so, Bai Ming and the rest did not give up. The 11 of them joined forces and immediately attacked Longao from all directions. If it was the previous Longao, not to mention the 11 primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivators, he might not even be able to contend with 2 or 3 of them. However, the situation was different now. Longao's cultivation had successfully broken through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. In addition to the Tao validation realm's god-slaying finger and reincarnation realm transcendence, it was clear what it meant. With his strength alone, he was able to fight against 11 primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivators. Not only did he not lose, but he also gained the upper hand. Everyone was shocked and stepped back, afraid that they would be implicated. If that happened, they wouldn't even have the chance to regret. Bai Ming had not expected the other party to be so powerful. It was no wonder that the other party dared to provoke the Bai family. It turned out that he had something to rely on. Even so, what could they do? The Bai family wasn't something that a primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivator could contend against. Bai Ming's attack surged once again. The other 10 primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivators did not hesitate and went all out. In such a situation, it was obvious that it was either one of them dying. If they weren't careful, they would be consigned to eternal damnation. No one dared to be careless in such a situation. Both parties exchanged blows and it was a life-and-death battle. Longao's god-slaying finger was too powerful and the surrounding space collapsed continuously. Regardless of who it was, none of them dared to go against the collapsing space. Everyone knew that even if they were primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivators, once they encountered the collapsing space or were sucked into it, the consequences would be unimaginable. In this way, although the 11 of them had joined forces, they were restrained and it was inconvenient for them to fight. At this moment, Longao's reincarnation realm transcendence enveloped one of them. He was the weakest among the 11 of them. At the same time, his body was dismembered and turned into a cloud of blood mist. Looking at their comrade who had turned into a cloud of blood mist, the remaining 10 people, including Bai Ming, were completely stunned. They had never thought that the 11 of them would not be able to kill the other party in the shortest time. Moreover, the other party had seized the opportunity to kill one of them. If they hadn't experienced it personally, they wouldn't have believed that it was true even if they were beaten to death. It was too terrifying. However, things had already turned out this way and they couldn't care less. It was either you die or I die. They had to kill the other party. Feeling the terrifying strength of the other party, the 10 of them knew that if the other party escaped or defeated them, not only them, but also the Bai family would be in great trouble. Now that the other party was just a primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivator, it was hard to imagine how terrifying his strength would be when he successfully broke through to the half-step Tao validation realm. At that time, the other party's strength would be unimaginable. The more they thought about it, the more fearful they became. The only thing they could do now was to cut the weeds and eliminate the root of the problem. It was easy to think about it, but it was difficult to do it. The 10 of them joined forces, but they couldn't smoothly kill Longao. The more they fought, the more depressed and frightened they became. They couldn't go on like this. Bai Ming crazily attacked while thinking of various countermeasures to deal with Longao. However, in this case, unless a half-step Tao validation realm cultivator personally took action, it would be difficult for the 10 of them to kill the other party. As for the half-step Tao validation realm cultivators of the Bai family, they had been in seclusion. Even if they wanted to notify them now, it was too late. After all, the battle would happen in minutes. Chapter 33-33. The more they fought, the more worried they were. This wasn't the way to go on. What should they do? The 10 Chaos Reincarnation martial artists gave it their all. All 10 of them knew that this wasn't the way to go on. Not to mention killing the other party, they didn't even know if they could leave this place alive. They were filled with regret. If they had known that the other party was this strong, they wouldn't have acted so recklessly. Among the 11 of them, other than Bai Ming, At least half of them were mercenaries. The rest were direct descendants of the Bai family. But it was too late for regrets now. Who are you, sir? Why do you want to fight to the death with my Bai family? Hearing Bai Ming's words, Longao was speechless. He had seen shameless people, but this was the first time he had seen someone this shameless. Clearly, the Bai family was the one who was looking for trouble with him. But now they were saying that he had to fight to the death with the Bai family. Since things had come to this, Longao did not hold back anymore. He struck out continuously. Under the combined might of the god-slaying finger and reincarnation transcendence, the 10 of them were completely suppressed, cutting the weeds and digging up the roots to prevent future troubles. Longao was no fool. If he were to let these people off, they would definitely cause trouble for him in the future. This battle shook the entire Thunder City. After all, no one had dared to provoke the Bai family in such a manner and kill them consecutively. If this were to go on, even if the Bai family were to emerge victorious, they would lose all their face. Just thinking about it was enough to know what would happen. Regardless of the consequences, Longao's primal chaos axe continued to chop out. One axe after another, it was continuous like a storm. Boom, boom, boom. Filled with indignance and rage, 3 people were killed consecutively. Bai Ming was completely stunned. In just a few minutes, 4 Chaos Reincarnation martial artists had been killed consecutively. But one had to know that, even for the Bai family, Chaos Reincarnation martial artists were not to be sacrificed so easily. This was not the way to go on. Boom! With a loud explosion, one of the Chaos Reincarnation martial artists was struck. As his body flew out, he turned into a blood mist. The 5th Chaos Reincarnation martial artist was killed. What sort of a concept was this? The remaining 6 people were shocked. How could they have the guts to continue fighting? They turned around and ran, rolling and crawling. To the high and mighty primal chaos samsara martial artists, this sort of escape was simply an extraordinary humiliation. They had never thought that people like them would end up like this. Even if there were 10,000 unwillingness in his heart, in the face of life and death, no one was not afraid of death. If he wanted to leave alive, he would have to throw away his so-called dignity and face. Otherwise, only death would await him. However, under such circumstances, how could Longao let the 6 of them escape so easily? Cut the weeds and eliminate the root. Longao's figure was like a flash of lightning as he chased after them. However, the 6 of them had already separated. It was almost impossible for him to kill all 6 of them at the same time. The 6 of them chose one. Just then, Longao suddenly sensed that someone had locked onto him from not too far away. He was all too familiar with this aura. It was none other than Emoing. He gave up on killing Bai Ming and the others because to Longao, killing Emoing was much more important than killing the Bai family. No matter what, Emoing was still a half-step primal chaos samsara martial artist. He was a greater threat to Yi Shiwen. As for Bai Ming and the others, Yi Shiwen could easily kill them whenever he encountered them. It was precisely because of this that Longao gave up on killing them and rushed towards Mo Ying's direction. Humph! Mo Ying snorted coldly. He had not expected that Longao would suddenly give up on killing the Bai family and come towards him instead. It was as if he did not put him in his eyes. Although he was seriously injured, Mo Ying had full confidence in his strength. It was more than enough to deal with a small primal chaos samsara martial artist. Mo Ying deliberately did not leave because in his opinion, Longao had killed the Bai family. Once Bai Ming and the others returned to the Bai family, it was obvious what would happen. If nothing unexpected happened, Bai Ming and the others would definitely go back to call for reinforcements. After all, there were several half-step primal chaos samsara martial artists in the Bai family. Once any one of them joined forces with him, it would be easier to kill Longao. Longao, you are really arrogant. How dare you make a move here? Ignoring Mo Ying's nonsense, Long Ao directly attacked him with the most frenzied attack. How could he not know what Mo Ying was thinking? The longer he delayed, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. If the half-step primal chaos samsara martial artists of the Bai family came, not to mention Mo Ying, the numerous experts of the Bai family were not something he could contend with. Therefore, under such circumstances, he had to end the battle quickly. First, he had to kill Mo Ying. As for the Bai family, he would deal with them later. Piglet was very greedy for the primordial spirit of a half-step primal chaos samsara martial artist. However, as Piglet continued to devour, Long Ao became more and more shocked. According to Piglet's devouring method, it was obvious what it meant. Under normal circumstances, Piglet should have made a breakthrough after devouring so many half-step primordial spirits. Even if he could not reach the so-called primal chaos samsara martial artist realm, at least his strength would definitely erupt. However, it was useless. Who knew how many more primordial spirits Piglet needed to devour? Mo Ying was completely angry. Long Ao's actions were obviously provoking him. If he could not kill the other party, then he would lose face. In his anger, he began to counterattack with endless killing intent. In the end, Mo Ying still underestimated Long Ao, especially when he was seriously injured. Under the double attack of the god-slaying finger and reincarnation transcendence, Mo Ying soon began to be unable to resist. If it were not for the help of a secret technique, Mo Ying believed that he would have been killed by Long Ao. As Mo Ying resisted Long Ao's crazy attacks, he cursed the Bai family in his heart. How long had it been? The Bai family still hadn't arrived. Could it be that the Bai family's half-step primal chaos samsara martial artist realm cultivators had already been killed? Mo Ying was very curious. According to the Bai family's nature, if someone dared to openly provoke them and kill 5 of their primal chaos samsara martial artists, the Bai family would definitely be furious. But now, the Bai family had yet to arrive. It seemed that this matter did not bode well for them. Mo Ying was also depressed to the extreme. He had tried to steal a chicken only to end up losing the rice used to lure it. He had never thought that Long Ao would be so strong. If this continued, then even he would be in trouble. Without any confidence to continue fighting, Mo Ying turned and left, disappearing into the sky as fast as he could. Long Ao did not chase after them, because he also felt that something was wrong. Under normal circumstances, everyone from the Bai family should have chased after them, but in the end, no one from the Bai family appeared. He would not believe that there was nothing fishy about it even if he was beaten to death. Chapter 33-34. He quickly left. What the hell is going on? There was definitely something fishy about this matter. It was just that no matter how he thought about it, Long Ao could not figure out the reason either. Towards the Bai family, Long Ao more or less definitely had some restraining fear. Although he was not afraid, he was not a hothead. The Bai family had several half-step Dao Vindication cultivators, and any one of them could cause a lot of trouble for him. If he could recover to the peak of the Chaos Reincarnation realm, then even facing a half-step Dao Validation martial artist, he would have the power to fight. However, it was easy to think about, but it was very difficult to really break through. Bai family. As one of the 3 great families of Thunder City, the Bai family's strength and heritage were needless to say. Bai Ming and the other 5 returned smoothly, as if they had taken a detour from the Hall of Hell. Just thinking about it made them feel scared. Until now, they still couldn't figure out why Long Ao chose to give up the chase at the last moment. The 6 of them were very clear. As long as Long Ao insisted on making a move to pursue and kill, then among the 6 of them, there would definitely be one who would be beheaded by Long Ao. Father still hasn't come out of seclusion. Bai Ming was also very helpless. After all, Longao's strength was there, and ordinary martial artists were not his opponent at all, unless they were half-step Tao validation martial artists. In addition to his father, the Bai family had a total of 6 half-step Tao validation martial artists, and any one or two of them could easily destroy Longao. In Bai Ming's view, no matter how powerful a chaos reincarnation martial artist was, it was impossible to be a match for a half-step Tao validation martial artist. It was just that his father and the 6 elders were all in seclusion, and even he did not dare to casually disturb them. If he disturbed the 7 people's breakthrough, he would not be able to escape the blame. Breaking through to the half-step Tao validation martialist was what these people yearned for the most. They wanted to become a Tao validation martialist. Many years ago, his father took the 6 elders to cultivate together, hoping to break through from a half-step Tao validation martial artist to a Tao validation martial artist. Although it was only a difference of 1 level, it was a world of difference. The gap between the two was very big, and they were not on the same level at all. You could say that a Tao vindication martial artist could kill a half-step Tao vindication martial artist in a matter of minutes. Even 100 half-step Tao vindication martial artists would not be a match for a single Tao vindication martial artist. This was the terrifying aspect of a Tao confirming martial artist. What should he do? Right at this moment, boom, there was a loud bang. Behind the rockery in the Bai family's backyard, a stone door appeared and several figures quickly emerged. These were none other than the 7 half-step Tao validation cultivators of the Bai family. Father, something happened. The moment Bai Xian's group of 7 appeared, Bai Ming was pleasantly surprised. Bai Xian's group of 7 instantly became gloomy. Their expressions became even uglier after hearing Bai Ming's words. Longao? A mere primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivator actually managed to kill 5 primal chaos reincarnation realm cultivators consecutively. It seems like this person must have mastered a Tao verification martial technique. After hearing one of the elders' speculations, everyone, including Bai Xian, nodded in agreement. There was no other explanation. Bai Xian's voice was extremely cold. Under normal circumstances, a primal chaos realm cultivator, even a half-step Tao verification cultivator, would not be able to master a Tao verification martial technique. Since this person has mastered a Tao verification martial technique, it seems that this martial technique is only infinitely close to a Tao verification martial technique. It is not a true Tao verification martial technique. Before reaching the Tao validation realm, there was simply no one who could grasp a Tao validation martial skill. There was no exception. However, one must know that the 3 great clans of the Thunder City all possessed Tao validation martial skills. Merely, among all the people in the 3 great clans, not a single person was able to grasp a Tao validation martial skill. From this, it could be seen how difficult it was to master a Tao verification martial technique. It was precisely because of this that Bai Xian and the others did not believe that this so-called Longao could master a Tao verification martial technique. However, it was obvious what it meant to possess such a Tao verification martial technique. If they could master such a Tao verification martial technique, it would be like adding wings to a tiger for the Bai family. Lock onto this person. We have to act personally. Bai Ming and the others were overjoyed when they heard their father's words. They did not dare hesitate and immediately turned around to lock onto Longao's track. The Bai family might be one of the 3 major families of Thunder City, but it was not easy to lock onto a person in such a huge city. Moreover, this person had to deliberately hide and not show himself. Longao had indeed not left Thunder City. Even though he clearly knew that the Bai family had several half-step Tao verification cultivators guarding it, he still did not have the slightest fear. Without a life and death experience, how could he break through so quickly? His cultivation had just broken through to the primal chaos reincarnation realm. He had not broken through to the peak of the primal chaos reincarnation realm, let alone the half-step Tao verification realm. Therefore, the most important thing right now was to find a way to break through to the peak of the primal chaos reincarnation realm. Not far from the southeast of the Bai family, Longao sneered as he looked at the Bai family. He could clearly sense that 7 terrifying auras had just erupted from the Bai family. They were all half-step Tao verification cultivators. There was no doubt that these were the legendary 7 half-step Tao verification cultivators of the Bai family. Longao had never imagined that a single family would have 7 half-step Tao verification cultivators. If this was the case, wouldn't the 3 major families of Thunder City have more than 20 half-step Tao verification cultivators? What kind of concept was this? 1 against 7? Longao sneered without even thinking about it. In any case, he had already offended the Bai family. Given the current situation, it was either you die or I die. In that case, there was no need for him to be polite. The most important reason for coming to the Bai family this time was Piglet. Piglet had just told him that there was a treasure in the Bai family. Longao was very impressed by Piglet's ability to find treasures. Just like before, Piglet had been able to locate the half-step Tao verification cultivator sealed in the stone. If he had not experienced it personally, he would not have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Longao also wanted to know what kind of treasure existed in the Bai family. After all, Piglet had been very excited this time. He was even more excited than if he had obtained a half-step Tao verification cultivator. However, at this time, Longao did not rashly enter the Bai family. In any case, there were 7 half-step Tao verification cultivators guarding the Bai family. Once these 7 people found him and besieged him, the consequences would be obvious. Boss, as long as you are careful, you should be fine. Hurry up, I am afraid that this treasure will be lost. How could Longao not know what Piglet meant? It was just that knowing was one thing, doing or not doing was another. Before he had full confidence, he would definitely not act rashly. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.